This is the Movie Busters, episode 26. Yes. It's the Rambo franchise.
Damn right.
All 5 movies. Yeah.
Another favorite Stallone movie.
What is Dan doing with his nose?
Nothing is over.
He looks like Skeletor.
You don't just turn it off.
I'll get you, He-Man.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good impersonation.
Leave the ink on the hand.
Mm-hmm.
Roll it across.
I'm coming for you, Murdoch.
Why are you pushing me, Alex?
Hey, Alex, I'm coming to get you. Okay?
I'll be ready. All right, of course, I'm Alex, aka Alex 2.0, and I'm joined by Rob, aka Movie Review Time. Say hello, damn it.
Hi. I'm Rob.
All right, and also joined by Thomas, aka Horror Fan 34.
Hi, I'm Rob. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm Thomas.
And of course, also joined by
everybody.
Yeah. Of course, also joined by Dan, aka Rocky Balboa 101.
We live in a society.
Nobody's gonna get that reference.
We actually have
they will.
We have a new guy in here, Autobot Critic Review.
That's Chucky Doll.
That's
is that his username? Okay.
That's his new name now. And of course, we got special guest Julie. Let's talk about movies, Cassidy.
Hey.
Yes.
Oh,
yeah.
Welcome back, Julie. Yeah.
That was the stuff.
Thank you for having me.
Rob just burped while Julie was trying to say
I thought you fell down, Rob.
I did from last tour.
He got pushed by the Paranormal Activity ghost.
He got pushed by the Freddy Krueger cutout.
He got stabbed by a knife.
Yeah. Of course, we're talking. Like I said, we're talking about all 5 Rambo movies. Since
all 5.
Yeah, all 5 of them. So yeah, let's freaking start. Hold on, give me a second here.
You can't find your legs.
There it is, baby.
We're starting off with
Hey, now you put your hand on that car. No. How you do it is up to you.
What do you hunt with a knife? Name it.
Name it.
I always thought he said the enemy.
Don't push any further. I'll give you a war you'll never forget.
All I wanted was something to eat. Damn it.
Cover leader of Raven.
Of course, we're starting out with the original first movie, the First Blood. It was called Rambo. It was just called First Blood.
Yep.
Who drew First Blood? Who's gonna draw First Blood in this one?
He did, sir. He did. Teasel.
Yeah. No. Which one of you?
It was
Which one of
fault.
Which one of you want to draw First Blood in this movie?
Oh, good one.
Oh, that was clever.
Yeah.
Nice, Alex.
They drew. I'll tell you what.
They drew First Blood, not me.
Not me.
They drew First Blood.
You're hunting him. He's hunting you.
John,
are you telling me a no man's situation is not good for us?
John,
don't forget one good thing. Good supply of body bags.
Whatever possessed God in heaven to make a man like Rambo.
God didn't make Rambo.
To eat things like make a billy goat
Who
puke.
the hell are you? Thank you, Troutman.
I loved you in Wall Street. Oh wait, wrong movie. All right, you know what? I'll let Julie go first on this one.
Julie's the best.
Go ahead, Julie. What are your thoughts on
You go first on the first.
Draw First Blood, Julie.
Alrighty. Well, I love First Blood. There's a lot of action in here, and you don't want to piss him off. He doesn't say hardly anything at all. He just blows up everything, and all he wanted was something to eat, but that cop wouldn't let him get anything to eat. And that's when it all started. That's when all hell broke loose, when the cop wouldn't let him find something to eat.
He was a racist.
against Vietnam vets. Yeah.
Is it like homely people?
What year did this movie? I don't see it on the back of it.
What year it came out? Oh,
1982.
Yeah.
Okay,
That's when I was
1982.
born.
It didn't say it on mine,
Yay.
so I was 2 years old when this movie came out, and I was already watching Rambo's and Rocky movies.
Oh,
I was in the womb.
I was
When I came out of the womb.
I was a Roger.
Thomas, you didn't exist. Neither did I.
No,
Thanos snapped your ass away.
You
I
guys
was
were fake.
nothing but air. So
You're just like we're one with the universe.
Yeah, I was only 2 years old when this movie came out.
So you saw it when you were 2?
No, I saw the Rocky movies when I was 3.
Oh, okay.
And then the Rambo's was next when I got older.
Oh, okay.
But I like the part when they are in the woods and they're trying to hunt for Rambo, and he's got himself camouflaged and stuff behind the woods, and nobody sees him, and he comes out and jumps out and grabs the guys.
Yeah.
And,
He's basically hunting them. It's like
yeah, he's
it's
hunting them.
like what Troutman said.
yeah.
And Troutman's like, I try to bring him in. That's like bringing the pigeons into the cat.
I came here to save you from him.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think you understand the situation, you know. And Teasel, he's good. I like Teasel.
Brian Dennehy, yeah, he's awesome.
Dennehy, may he rest in peace.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love Brian Dennehy.
And so when him and Teasel tried to go into it, then that's when all of it started breaking loose. I know you can hear me. When he's in that woods trying to hunt him down.
Wasn't his fault, yeah.
Going as far as you're gonna go.
So, but yeah, I like Rambo First Blood.
Okay. So, okay. Since this was the year you were born, go ahead, Rob. You go next.
Okay. Yeah, you know what? You know what's cool about this movie is like you know how Stallone acts like Rocky? Like he has that way about him.
Yeah,
it's like I felt like in this movie it's like Julie's right, like he's quiet, but when he talks he doesn't have that he acts to me like a different character, which that's what I like. It's like, you know, a lot of people bash Stallone because they're like, oh, he can't act. He's always acting like Stallone. He's always talking like Rocky, or he always talks like that. I feel like Rambo, he talks clearer, and like you can kind of compare, you know, Rocky and Rambo character. They're different. And that's why I think Stallone was perfect for this. Like, I just think he I don't want to say he shows his acting chops, but I'm just saying, like, this is just, it's a different film. And, like, yeah, this has, like, one of the best car chase scenes ever.
Yes.
I think. And the fact that, you know, Stallone, I believe he did all his own stunts. I think he, when they were, like, when they were up in the mountains and stuff, like, when they were filming up there, like, I don't know if,
Stallone did like a thing where he landed on a branch and broke his ribs.
Yes, that was what I was gonna say. Yeah, because he did that. This guy has balls, man. I mean, even today he has balls. It's crazy stuff.
This is why I miss action movies like this. They don't make this stuff now.
I don't make nothing like they used to no more.
I tell you one part that scared me when I was younger, when I first saw this movie. The one part that scared me was the scarecrow part. That part is so it's so simple, but it shouldn't really scare you as like an audience, but it does. Like when it's like thundering and lightning out, and like the cops are trying to they think it's Rambo, but it's actually that scarecrow. That part always gets me. I don't know what it is about it,
because it's like a horror movie.
Yeah, it seems like a horror movie, and if you realize in this movie that Rambo doesn't even really kill anybody, he just basically. He could have killed the whole entire police force, but instead he just toys with them. And it's like, and we'll get to that when we get to the second movie, but that's kind of why I like the second movie more, because I felt like that was more of a Rambo film. This is kind of toned down, where there is a lot of action, but I kind of like seeing him blow people up. And I like and stuff. So, but for me, it was Brian Dennehy and him going head to head. That was where, for me, that was the best, the best parts of this movie.
And you have that great conversation between Rambo and Teasel. You know, Don't push it, or I'll give you a war you'll never believe.
The original ending for this was Sheriff Teasel was supposed to die, and then Troutman, Rambo's like all hurt, and Troutman was like goes over to Rambo and comforts him, and then Rambo dies, and that's one of the endings.
Doesn't he commit suicide in the original ending?
Yeah.
He here's the thing, like if that would have happened, like I just wonder how
sequels,
no sequels, but I just wonder how that would have turned out. Like
probably a more depressing movie.
Well, I know Stallone did not want Rambo to die at the end.
No.
Yeah, actually, just to add to that real quick, I just recently was getting a little bit more detail on that. When they filmed the suicide scene, that was originally how it was supposed to go, obviously. Right after they filmed it, I'm talking like they killed cut and they were going to move on. Stallone all of a sudden was like, you know what? He's like, I don't think this is right. Like, I don't feel like this movie would kind of be an unhopeful movie if we did it. So they refilmed the ending. But when they first showed it to test audiences, they showed the original ending. And that's exactly what happened. The audience, they get the audience's what their thoughts are on the film after the film, and everyone was like, "Oh, like that was too much of a downer for an ending." So then they were like, "Okay, we're going to go with the other ending, which is the one that we have." And of course, it's history after that. So,
hey, Sean.
Hey, Sean.
Hey, Sean.
How you doing, Sean?
Yeah, I read about that. Because this is based on a book, so the book is more like the original ending where he dies, and he actually is more of a killer in the book, I believe.
I mean, you could say he threw a stone at that helicopter.
He's defending himself, though.
Right, but when I say like he didn't really kill anybody. It's like he kind of made that happen, but it's like still he didn't really forcefully really kill anybody.
Yeah. So, he had a chance to kill them like plenty of times.
He did, and that's the thing that's different from the other ones. It's like he had a chance to, and he didn't. But I think it makes it a good. It kind of tells you something about his character. I don't know. Yeah, it's a really well done movie. And I can see why people would put it like in their number one spot.
Sean said that the original First Blood is his favorite action movie. I can't argue against that.
It's a great one. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that's all I have to say.
Okay, cool. Dan, you can go next.
Okay, so I was 3 years old when this movie came out, but I honestly I don't remember like when I first saw this. I mean, I don't recall like the first time watching this movie. But no, it's obvious. You guys have already hit on some really good points. Like Rob was saying, like Stallone is a different character in this movie, and this has been going on for years. He doesn't get enough credit for his acting ability.
I agree.
And this movie really is a showcase of that character. And I like the realism of this movie. They hit a note with the whole like coming home from Vietnam and people, like that whole monologue at the end of the film, how he's fighting for our country, but his country doesn't want, the people in the country are against the war, so they're against the soldiers. The soldiers are just following orders. That's all he's doing. He's following orders for his country, but people take offense to the people in the in the army and in the forces. So but this film, the very beginning of this film, the opening scene I really like, because when Rambo goes to look for his friend, he has a little bit of optimism left at that point. I mean, he's like, oh, like I want to, reconnect with this guy. Like this guy knows what I went through, And when he finds out he passed, that's it. That's it for him. He's got really nobody left, and that kind of starts a domino effect. He's already in a bleak place at this point. And then when the sheriff starts pushing him, that's kind of where it all goes south. And, it's interesting because I think in the first act, you have a lot of sympathy for Rambo. And then I just was thinking about this when you guys were talking. It's like once he gets, once he breaks free of the police station and he's out in the forest, it's like, sure, like sheriff pushed him, but it's like, okay, at this point the cops are doing their job. But I think kind of Rambo kind of becomes almost like an anti-hero in this movie because, like Rob was saying, like that whole scene in the forest is real creepy because it's almost like you have these
straight out of a horror movie.
Yeah, like it's these police officers doing their job, and he's obviously way more skilled than them, and he's like injuring these guys, and you're just like, what's he gonna do next to these people, you know? And then he just loses it. Like Rambo just loses it as the movie progresses. I mean, and you're almost like, I mean, you sympathize for him, but like, I don't know if anyone's really rooting for him in this movie. I mean, you're kind of just like, this guy's a loose cannon. Like you feel bad for him, but it's like, what's he gonna do? And you know, ultimately, I think it was a good idea to keep him alive. And you know, then he obviously gets arrested. I mean, he did some bad things, but again, also he didn't kill anybody in this movie. I mean, and he was defending himself. So
yeah.
What else? Yeah, I mean, there's some really great dialogue in this movie. And yeah, the fact that Sly, I mean, he's always tried to do all his own stunts. So the stunt, where he jumps off that cliff and he lands into those trees. He broke his ribs in that scene. I mean, that's really him.
Hey, Dale.
Dale's here.
Hey, Dale.
I like when he eats things that make a billy goat puke. That's a good scene. But of course, the writer of the book, he actually is very against these films. I can't even think of his name right now. I think it's David something. But
I'll look it up.
Of course, he didn't like that they changed things from his book, and I can understand that. I mean, he wrote a book, they bought the movie rights, and then they changed it. Like, I get that. But
David Morrell.
That's it, David Morrell. I knew it was David. What else? Yeah, Brian Dennehy is great in this movie. So is Colonel Troutman, Richard Crenna.
Fantastic actor.
Yeah, I mean, you don't want to.
Yes, very good.
He's basically Rambo's lifeline to reality, like throughout the films at this point. Like, he's almost like he almost seems like, I guess a father figure.
Yeah, pretty much the only family, the only friend he's got.
Yeah, and like that the Act 3, that last scene where, you know, Rambo has that great dialogue where he just is saying like all this terrible things have happened, and then he kind of, you know, breaks down, and Troutman totally gets it, but Troutman is like, you know, he's one of the type where it's like, okay, like I understand, but you have to, you know, the things you did were wrong. You gotta stand up for the things that you did. So
yeah.
Well, if you think about it, those cops were jerks to him. Like when he was in the police station, they all the stuff they were doing to him was uncalled for. All that stuff was.
Yeah, right. That's why he snapped.
Mm-hmm. I know, it's like you got Galt and Teasel, who are just like, they're just kind of over the top. And David Caruso, he was kind of trying to be nice to him, but it didn't matter. It didn't matter. Like, some of those cops like didn't have anything to do with what happened yet.
That's right.
Taking them out.
That's right. I forgot David Caruso was in that.
I think the first movie I noticed David Caruso was An Officer and a Gentleman with Richard Gere. He was in that, and then he was in this movie, and I'm like, oh, I forgot that too, that he was in here.
Mm-hmm.
And then David Caruso went on to be in Session 9, which is a good ghost movie.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Just to bring up Galt too, it's like he tried to murder Rambo in this movie.
Yeah,
I know.
Remember the chopper pilot is like, hey, remember he was like, oh, the weather's getting bad, or we're in like a windstorm, like we need to pull out, and he's like, if you take this helicopter out, I'm gonna kill you. It's like, what?
It's like the cops didn't have any sympathy for him. If he had like PTSD, it's like they didn't care. Yeah. It's like, you know,
they didn't. Again, it's that whole mindset, like, oh, like, we don't care what you did over there. We don't care what you went through, and it's just like they went through a lot of stuff. So again, I like how they implemented history into this movie. Mm-hmm. I just like that whole premise of soldiers coming home and being treated like garbage, basically.
To kill. Period.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So I think that's all I got for now. If I think of anything, I can add it. But yeah, it's a great film.
Mm-hmm. All right, Thomas, go ahead.
I mean, Rob, Dan, and Julie pretty much summed up a lot of this movie, like of how great it is. First Blood actually was one of the last Rambo films I saw, because the first Rambo that I ever saw was actually the new one.
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Actually. Yeah, because I heard about the older Rambo films, but I didn't see them until like I think later. So the first one I ever saw was this. And then actually the first one I ever saw of the first three films is the second movie. Then I actually saw First Blood last, actually, out of the Rambo films. When it was just the first four, obviously.
Okay, yeah. I was just saying what?
Nah, it was way before last.
I saw First Last.
Yeah, the first Blood was the first one. Was actually the last one I saw out of the first four.
Yeah.
And I mean, one more thing I said before. I mean, really, Chloe?
Chloe, knock it off.
Chloe,
okay.
All right, goodbye, Chloe. Bye, Chloe.
I knew that was gonna happen.
I knew I heard something in the background there.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry.
She heard you say I saw First Blood last. I'm like, what?
I don't think she was impressed by that.
She hears vomiting outside.
But
go ahead.
First Blood is great. First off, directed by Ted Kotcheff. This is the excellent director that's kind of underrated because he didn't really go into direct much after this. I know he did Uncommon Valor with Gene Hackman. Then he did Weekend at Bernie's, which was fun. Three totally different movies for him. I'll tell you that. But First Blood is great. This is easily one of Stallone's best roles. It's the first introduction to John Rambo. And even though, like I said before, John Rambo doesn't have a whole lot of dialogue, but the moment when he does speak, you know the dialogue. So that's how memorable John Rambo's dialogue is in the first movie. You know it. You can quote it. You know, Stallone does a great job acting-wise. Love the action set pieces. Granted, it's not the most action-packed of the Rambos. This is definitely more of a drama with a little bit of action.
How blind are you? Can't you see this guy's crazy?
Can't you see I don't give a shit?
Yeah, like First Blood and Last Blood are the ones that have the least action.
I still think First Blood is definitely
which is like
clean him up. Clean him up.
Actually, and I'll provide you guys with a few pieces of trivia actually about the first Rambo. One of the first choices they actually went to was Al Pacino.
Yeah,
Al Pacino was one of the first choices they went to, but
that would have been weird.
But Al Pacino wanted it to be more like the novel, where Rambo is more of a crazy person, killing people. He's a madman. But the studio said, no, we don't want to make it like the novel.
So he ended up doing Scarface instead.
We need to do a multiverse.
Yeah, there you got to kill plenty of people.
Yeah, really.
So yeah, Pacino.
Al Pacino just wanted to kill some people.
Say hello to my little friend.
Yeah.
Kirk Douglas, I believe, was the first choice for Trout.
Yes. Kirk Douglas. They actually like got far enough to where he was reading dialogue and stuff with Stallone, and like they were like, yeah, this isn't the right fit.
Mm-hmm.
And I know also originally Mike Nichols was going to direct this with Dustin Hoffman in the Rambo role, but Dustin Hoffman wasn't interested because he didn't want to play that kind of character, so that didn't work out. And
yeah, Robert Duvall was also up for Sheriff Teasel too.
And whatchamacallit, one of the other choices they went to for John Rambo was Chris Christopherson.
Yes.
Chris Christopherson was also up for Rambo, but that didn't work out either. Then they got Stallone. And like I said, and I want to mention this too, I absolutely love Richard Crenna as Troutman. I tell you, Troutman's character in the first one is definitely different than Rambo 2 and 3, because with this one, you don't really know whether or not Troutman's really on Rambo's side compared to 2 and 3. Because 2 and 3,
that's true. You got me a good point. Yeah, it's very vague.
Yeah, Rambo 2 and 3, Troutman is definitely more of an ally to Rambo. While in First Blood, you don't really know if he is on his side, if he's not, because of some of the dialogue that he says that he has with Rambo. You don't really know what side he's on. But Richard Crenna, fantastic actor. Whenever I think of Richard Crenna, I always think of three things: either as Troutman, Hot Shots Part 2, or Summer Rental.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I always think of him from those three things.
Yeah.
I especially love him in Hot Shots Part 2. I love it. I love his role in that.
It's not the last time we're gonna mention Hot Shots Part 2.
Well, Gene Hackman was up for Teasel. I think he would have done a good job.
Yeah, Gene Hackman was up for the.
Oh wow,
that's right. Yeah. There was a lot of things that they went through, like Dustin Hoffman, Al Pacino, and ironically enough, actually, I figured I share this as we're talking about First Blood. I figured I share this to Julie. Julie, in case you're interested, if you want to see the novel First Blood turn into a movie, then here you go. The Hunted.
The Hunted.
The Hunt?
That's a good movie.
The Hunted.
Check that one out.
Hunted, it's a good.
So that's pretty much like the novel version of Rambo.
This is the novel version of First Blood, where Tommy Lee Jones is the Troutman character and Benicio del Toro is the Rambo character.
Mm-hmm.
And that one, Benicio del Toro is like a madman. He's killing people. And, Tommy Lee Jones is the Troutman character trying to hunt him down. So it's basically the novel First Blood into a movie. And I think it's great. And it's actually directed by William Friedkin, who did The Exorcist.
Yeah.
And, yeah, I mean, overall, to sum up my thoughts on First Blood, fantastic. I love and Rob mentioned this too. I love the car chase. It's definitely one of the best car chases in action movie history. I love the car chase, and on top of that too, like that whole scene when he's fucking up all the people in the cop station is great. Like David Caruso and things like that, and it was just great to see this cast, like Richard Crenna, Brian Dennehy, and Stallone, and things like that. I love the cast in this. I love the direction, and and if it weren't for them keeping Rambo alive at the end, we wouldn't have fun sequels like Rambo 2 and 3, which I'm glad they did and kept it alive, because then you would get like the comic version of Rambo.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, First Blood overall, I would give it a 10 out of 10 to. I absolutely adore First Blood. I think it's one of the best 80s films ever. It's the first introduction to John Rambo. It gave birth to another Stallone character because Stallone already had Rocky. And this is really the other character that really made Stallone popular other than Rocky, was Rambo.
Yeah, if you think of Stallone, there's no other franchise besides Rambo and Rocky that, Escape Plan, but still, like, there's no other franchise.
Rocky and Rambo are definitely better than Escape.
Yeah.
But overall, First Blood is fantastic. I love the movie.
All right.
So Alex,
I didn't see this movie like that much as a kid because I grew up with Rocky more than Rambo. Obviously, I just didn't see Rambo too much later. Any of them, I actually saw them all in order. So, so that's actually good. A good way to watch them, right? This one though, this is you guys pretty much nailed it. Like I pretty much agree with everything you guys said. It's a really good action movie. Also, it has this good drama too, with the whole Vietnam vet who has PTSD. He has nobody in his life anymore. The police, the local police, are just for no reason just discriminating against them, especially Brian Dennehy's character, this sheriff.
Exactly,
All he's asking for is like a place to eat. He's pretty much saying like, we don't want your kind of people around. Get out of my town.
Racist. Yeah.
Yeah.
They don't want dirties.
What an asshole.
Yeah.
I mean, they were treated bad. My dad served in Vietnam. They were treated bad when they came back.
Right.
That's just how it was.
Mm-hmm. So that's why that's very powerful scene at the end where he has this whole speech saying like, these people don't have the right to protest me and calling me baby killer and all this. I did what I had to do because people I don't know what people forget about the history. The soldiers were drafted to Vietnam, so they had no choice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
So they did what they had to do, and then look at that. I mean, especially for a war that didn't need to happen, but it happened. There's nothing we could do about it now, other than learn from our mistakes, which we don't. But anyway, that's you want to go into history, real history. Yeah, I mean, and you guys mentioned already, Dan said this. Stallone doesn't get enough credit for his acting chops, which I did say that when we talked about Rocky Balboa.
Yeah.
And this one at the end, he's talking about he has this whole speech about the pretty much his friend who got killed in Vietnam. He got
blown up.
Blown up, and he was in pieces, and he just wanted to go back home and have a life, but now he can't, and he literally has his friend in pieces. His legs were gone, and he's crying and everything. I can't fathom being in that situation.
Right. Yeah.
What does that? Something like that. What does that do to the human brain? It's trauma.
Definitely.
Crazy. But yeah. Also, I'm glad that they didn't go with the original ending, because that would have been suppressing the movie. This Vietnam vet went through all this, and he's being discriminated against, and then it just ends up killing stuff. Where's the hope for that? But yeah, the performances are good, the action's good when it's there, and yeah, Stallone did a good job with this character, and other than the ending and I guess the violence, is that the biggest difference in the novel to the movie?
I haven't read the novel, but I think just
the main difference in the novel was that Rambo is more of a madman killing people.
I don't think there was much violence difference.
Yeah, I think Thomas is right. I think in the novel it was he was more I don't know, but
Rambo in the novel First Blood was more already lost. He was already gone psycho. He was already out in La La Land.
Mm-hmm.
He couldn't bring him back. He was too far gone.
Yeah.
He was Anakin Skywalker, pretty much.
In Revenge of the Sith.
Sucking on that.
Yeah. He killed. Oh, Rambo in the novel killed younglings. Holy shit.
I guess so.
I wonder in the novel. I wonder if there was blue titty milk. I don't know though.
We haven't brought this up. Jerry Goldsmith did the music. He is so. I love him.
Yeah, I like the music.
Good call.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I would say Jerry Goldsmith is definitely one of my favorite composers. I love Alien and the three Rambo films. Hollow Man was a good score.
Well, it's a Long Road by Dan Hill is great too.
Mm-hmm.
And I also thought Jerry Goldsmith's score for Congo was really good too.
Yeah, he does good stuff. He's one of those that no one really mentions too much.
It's funny you mentioned that song, because at the end when they're walking away and that song's playing, and it's a weird kind of freeze frame. I guess this is just common in '80s movies, but it just freezes. That's it, because the credits are already rolling and the movie's still happening, and then the freeze frame. I was like, okay, interesting choice.
Yeah.
Usually the freeze frame happens and then the credits roll.
Yeah.
But I don't know. They wanted to be. I guess they wanted to be experimental.
Be a little different.
They failed.
Yeah, flopped.
Garbage.
But yeah. I mean, I got not much else to say other than I really enjoyed it, and this is one of the best ones.
Yeah.
Franchise.
Yes, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I actually prefer this, the drama-ish and the action mixed together. I mean, I know you guys have anything else to say about First Blood?
No.
Nope.
I can. I'll give you the statistics.
Oh yeah, the stats.
So the budget was $15 million. U.S. money, it made $47 million. Worldwide, it did $125 million. So it was a hit. Mm-hmm. IMDb's current score is 7.7. That seems low to me. Rotten Tomatoes 85%. Audience score 85%.
It's a pretty good score.
Yeah,
that's not a bad score under any means. But
85% is pretty good, but
Yeah.
I still think it's like an A, not a B.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a solid A.
Well,
Yeah.
IMDb, I think it needs at least an 8. 7.7 to me that seems low.
Yeah, that's like a little above average.
I would say at least maybe like an 8.5.
So those damn hippies that protested the war, they
Yeah.
they didn't like the movie so much.
Karens.
8.7.
Those stupid Karens.
Oh god.
Those people who were cheering for the cops in the movie. That's what.
Yeah, really.
Yeah. But 3 years later we got Rambo First Blood Part 2.
My favorite.
Electric
Mine
Boogaloo.
This is my favorite. Hands
Mine
down.
My favorite.
Fun fact: James Cameron co-wrote this movie.
Yes,
Yeah.
he
I know,
did.
that's so weird.
Yeah.
Yep.
He
And it was
just-
actually called First Blood 2: The Mission. That was the original title.
that makes sense. It is a mission. It happens in the movie. There's a mission happening. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know why they decided why couldn't it just be First Blood Part 2? Like, why did they have to put Rambo in the title? Like,
Maybe because that's kind of confusing. Like First Blood Part 2. I was like,
Well,
there's a first in the title. And
I'm glad they added this. I mean, the subtitle's fine for me. Like, I'm glad it's in there somewhere.
it's like Hellbound Hellraiser 2. Right?
Well, yeah, exactly. That's good.
But
point
imagine
there.
if like the third one they called it Hellbound 3.
That would have been dumb.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
know. It's a marketing thing. It's like I don't know.
The titles for all these movies are all messed up.
I know.
Especially when we get to the third movie
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it's Rambo 3.
and the fourth movie.
Yeah.
Number 3.
All right. Dan, you can go first in this one.
Well, all right. Okay, yeah, Rambo 2, 1985. So it just continues the story. Basically, Rambo is still locked up, but they have this mission for him to go find out if there are still living POWs over in Vietnam. But he's just supposed to be on reconnaissance. That's it. He's not supposed to, do anything else besides find out what's going on over there. But of course, Rambo, as patriotic as he is, he's not going to let POWs, stay over there. So he decides to rescue them. And that's basically the plot. This movie is a pretty simple plot, I would say, but it's an entertaining movie. I mean, I compare this movie to like Rocky IV as far as like it's just like a great entertaining movie. I mean, you can just sit down and like be entertained and watch it. It's the action is just great. Stallone again. It just showed this is kind of like he's become an action star, Sylvester Stallone at this point. And this movie just showcases how good a job he does at it. Martin Cove has a small part in this, and I always forget that
very
the
fun
actor
role.
who plays Murdoch. I forget what his name is, but he
Oh,
plays
Charles Napier.
Charles
yes,
Napier.
That's it. He likes to play a villain. He does a good job as the villain.
Fantastic as Murdoch, yes.
Denied.
And then of course you got all the Vietnamese villains over there.
Yeah.
And Rambo, he's a one-man war machine in this movie. I mean, he just goes and just like annihilates everyone in just like the coolest imaginable ways you can think of. What else? His like I don't know, the character, just the stealthiness and like the brute force, like it's just all so entertaining and good. You just can't help but enjoy this movie. I mean, you're just I just like smile thinking about it right now. So you get right away in the movie, Rambo, he loses all his equipment. Like there's a malfunction when he's gonna jump, and so like again, it's like he didn't need weapons. I mean, yes, he gets weapons, but it just shows that how tough of a guy he is. I would say one of my favorite scenes in this whole movie is the torture scene once he's captured. The stuff that they do to him, you just feel so bad for him.
They shave him dry.
Yeah, and then they put him in the that pit they make him in that like mud pit they're hanging him in that pit, and then they got him strapped to an electric mattress thing where he's getting electrocuted. Then they take that knife and they scar his face. All that, like, I don't know, that scene as a kid, I just always remember being like, oh man, like this is, how's he gonna get out of this?
Yeah.
But my favorite part of the whole movie is when they want him to speak on the microphone and he's like, Murdoch, I'm coming for you. I get chills on that scene. Like that.
He doesn't even care that he's captured. He's still like, Murdoch, I'm coming for you. I don't even care about my situation.
That scene is filmed so well too, because like right when he says that, there's like a lightning strike and it shows Murdoch like, oh, and it's just like he knows.
Dun, dun,
so
dun. Yeah,
it's over the top, but like in a good way. You know,
It would be interesting to see if Rambo would able to get out of there if it wasn't for his partner. I mean, the partner kind of helped him.
Yeah, and of course, then she ends up. The partner dies, and then he wants revenge. He's like gonna get vengeance for her.
Yeah, that was supposed to be John Travolta, by the way.
Yeah, it was.
Oh, really?
Yeah, John Travolta was up for the part of being the sidekick.
Oh, huh.
That would be interesting.
Yeah, it was when James Cameron had the original script.
Yeah.
James Cameron was going to have John Travolta as the tech guy.
Okay.
But they didn't go with that. And ironically enough, they would that idea. You figure an action star with a tech guy, they would later kind of use that for Live Free or Die Hard with Bruce Willis and Justin Long.
See, what happened? They saw like, Stallone and Travolta worked together in Staying Alive, and that movie didn't work. So let's not have them together in a movie.
Oh, good call.
Well, actually, Staying Alive actually did make a decent amount of.
Well, they had good chemistry. There's a really good interview with both of them together, and they have really good chemistry.
Why wasn't Travolta in any of the Expendable movies then? Huh?
Yeah.
That would have been cool.
He would have played a good bad guy.
Yeah.
They should have added him in there.
Should have.
Yeah. Too late now.
Maybe they thought he would just do nothing but dance the whole time.
Let's see. What else was of course, like I said, you got Rambo shooting a guy with a bow, an arrow that explodes. It's just like so over the top, but it's fun. It's a fun movie. I don't really have more to say about it. Like I said, I kind of compare it to Rocky IV. Like I feel like Rocky IV, to me,
came out the same year as this.
Yeah, the 80s were Stallone's. That was his decade.
Yeah,
but
85 was the biggest year for him in his career.
Yeah,
for sure. But yeah, it's just a fun, entertaining movie to sit and watch, and yeah, it's definitely one that I like. So that's what I got on that one.
Okay. Chili, you can go next.
Yeah, I'd have to say part 2 is my favorite one out of the whole franchise, basically because there's more action involved than there was the first one. Because in a way, this one reminds me of a little bit of a Mission in Action with the Chuck Norris, because he's going after the POW.
Oh yeah.
And so is Chuck Norris in the Mission in Action. So, and nobody told him to go and rescue them, but he wasn't going to leave behind. So once he got there, he was trying to free those guys, and at the same time, he had to go through heck trying to get there to get to them. And I like the part where towards the end of that show where the helicopter's down and he's pretending like he's dead, and then the other helicopter comes up and is fixing to blow him up, and then Rambo comes back and shoots the gun and he blows up the other helicopter.
That was really quick too. He like the other guy looked like he was ready to fire the missile, but Rambo's just like this. He just he just it's funny.
He just popped up and let him have it. Then I liked that part, and then when that guy was running, trying to get away from him on the rocks, and then Rambo draws his bow and arrow and gets it, not even flinching, and he just shoots that arrow and blows that guy up into pieces. After that, it's got a lot of really cool action scenes like those two. And when his partner dies with the girl, then he gets even with them, and he just goes after every one of them. He don't care. You know. But yeah, this one is my favorite franchise out of all of them. It's part 2.
Now, let me ask you this, Julie. What was actually the first Rambo that you ever saw?
I'd have to say the first one.
The first one?
And then I just watched them in order.
That's cool art, Dan. That's cool, like a little art.
Oh, yeah, I like that artwork.
Yeah, that was cool. But yeah, that's all I got to say, though, on that one.
All right, Thomas, you can go next.
I mean, I can gush about this. Yeah, sorry if I'm laying down. I was getting my butt was getting a little uncomfortable on that stool.
Huh.
I was sitting on there for like a half hour, so now I'm laying in bed. But I can gush about this movie for hours on end. Rambo 2 is.
But we don't have the time.
It's easily my favorite Rambo film. It's this is actually the one that I've actually watched the most. Rambo 2 is the pure definition of a pure action classic. This is the pure definition of 80s action. And it sums it up very perfectly of what action movies were like in the 80s. You know, Stallone comes back once again as Rambo, does a great job. And, you know, Richard Crenna comes back as Troutman. You have Charles Napier as Murdoch. And I tell you what, I love the little dialogue between Stallone and the girl on the boat. And he's like, you know, what's that right there? He's like, oh, this is a necklace. This is for good luck. And she's like, what did you bring for good luck? He picks up the knife and he's like, I guess this.
Yeah.
And you have some really great lines between Troutman and I love, and like I said, Troutman in this one and the third one is definitely more of an ally to Rambo. That's definitely more of an ally character for Rambo. And Troutman is really Rambo's right-hand man, pretty much.
I always saw him as like his outfit to his Batman.
Right, yeah.
Kind of like that.
And you have some great lines between Troutman and Rambo. Sir, do we get to win this time? This time it's up to you.
Mm-hmm.
What you choose to call hell, he calls home.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, Charles Napier as Murdoch is an excellent villain. I love Charles Napier. And Dan mentioned that great line that Rambo says, you know, Murdoch, he's here.
Mm-hmm.
Rambo, this is Murdoch. I'm glad to hear that you're alive. Give us your position, and we'll come.
Denied.
Give us your position. We'll come and get you, Murdoch. I'm coming for you.
You're just to take photos, Rambo. You hear me? Just take photos.
Just take photos. Who do you think he is? Peter Parker?
Just take photos.
Rambo, hello. You're fired.
Rambo doesn't take photos.
Do not engage, Rambo.
Mm-hmm.
Rambo,
engage.
Rambo, you're fired.
I repeat, do not engage the enemy.
Don't engage.
And this time around, different director. You have George P. Cosmatos directing it this time.
Done some good movies.
Yeah, George P. Cosmatos did Tombstone and Leviathan.
Great movie.
Yeah. Actually, a fun fact about Rambo 2, I know Stallone's son, Sage Stallone, was a big fan of Unknown Origin that George P. Cosmatos did. And he recommended George P. Cosmatos to his dad and said, like, hey, why don't we get this guy to direct Rambo 2? And yeah, this is just in Rambo 2. This is the definition of superhero Rambo. This is a comic book Rambo.
Yeah,
this is definitely more of the action-packed Rambo. This is like a comic book, and this really did cement Stallone as an action hero. This was really the film that really blew him up as an action star. Because then after this, you would have, Cobra and Tango and Cash and Demolition Man and Cliffhanger. Like, it really developed him into this big action star. In 1985, was actually. I still have a little bit of that cough. I'm sorry. But 85 was really the biggest year for Stallone's career because this and Rocky IV both came out the same year and were ginormous hits. Made well over $200 million, I believe.
Hey, that's Dan's line.
I don't know the box office off the top of my head.
It didn't make no money. It's garbage.
That's just an estimated guess. I mean, they made a shitload of money combined. But Dan will say that later. But
no.
Well, not anymore.
I didn't say the exact amount.
I didn't watch the exact amount. I don't know the exact amount either.
Now, there's like all those rumors though about like how much of this was directed by Stallone, how much of this was George P. Cosmatos. People kind of say like the same thing about like how much of Cobra was directed by Stallone and how much was George P. Cosmatos. But
people also say the same thing about. Never mind.
People actually say the same thing about Tombstone. People are saying like, "Oh, that was more directed."
I was going to mention that comic book movie, but no.
People are dumb.
The Justice League.
The Justice League. Oh, Josh.
Yeah.
Oh, Josh.
Well, his career is over, but.
Oh man, he's gotten in some big trouble this week.
He's in the garbage.
But yeah, Rambo 2 is my favorite. I would probably say I don't know if it would be my favorite Stallone film, but it's definitely my favorite Rambo film. But it's definitely in my top 5 Stallone films. Rambo 2 is pure.
Oh, you're right. You need some water.
I still have that cough. I'm sorry for my. Just I have a tickle in my throat. Sorry.
Well, drink some water.
Yeah, get some water, Thomas.
Yeah.
Water might do you some good there.
Yeah.
But Rambo 2 is the pure definition of 80s action. And once again, Jerry Goldsmith does a great job on the musical score. Yep, and I'll tell you what, this is what I missed about action movies today, because they don't make action movies like this at all anymore, where it's all practical and things like that. And I love the scene where Stallone, as Rambo gets the shotgun, like Julie mentioned, the helicopter scene, and great cast too. Stallone, Charles Napier, Richard Crenna. Just an excellent cast. I mean, I would say just as good of a cast as First Blood, the first movie. And I love Rambo 2. It's my favorite Rambo film. So that's all I got to say.
All right. Rob.
Okay, so this is the first Rambo film that I ever saw. I saw this, then I saw First Blood. I was young. I can't remember what age, but I remember the part that always stood out to me in this movie that's kind of scared me was the part where he puts mud on himself and then stands on the wall.
Yeah.
And then the guy comes by and he knifes him. That whole part creeps me. It used to creep me out. But I tell you what, I call this the quintessential Rambo film because I feel like this is what when Troutman in the first movie, he was always talking about how good Rambo is, how Rambo does this and does that. This movie, I feel like we get to see finally what he's capable of. He's a one-man army. He doesn't really need backup, even though his partner helped him. But I'm saying like this is what to me Rambo is. And it's funny that Stallone actually had to go through some really hard training to get his physique in this movie. I mean, especially in Rambo 3, he was more jacked than he is here. But in this movie, he is so hit. If you just look at man, he just looks so toned and so good in this one. More so than the first movie, but yeah, like you guys touched on all the action scenes. All the action scenes are good. I like the characters. I like the fact that Rambo. It's almost like Rambo is being betrayed, kind of like once again in this movie. It's like they're telling him to do something, but then at the same time, something's being swept under the rug. So it's like he takes it onto himself to rescue the POWs, and it's like it just shows you how much of a good person and courageous person he is. But yeah, that's you guys have pretty much talked about everything. This is just my favorite. I love this movie so much, and you're right, they do not make films like this anymore, like action films.
And of course, I'm thinking.
All right. Guess I'm next. Yeah. I like this one. It has really good action, like you guys said. The plot is simple, and I like how Rambo, how he gets sold out pretty much. He's to try and help out, and then they just abandon him pretty much. So he's got to fend on his own for the most part, and he comes back for revenge because if you fuck with Rambo, he's coming after you. He'll find a way, and I like that. Like Ralph said, like we finally get to see what Trauman was talking about in the first one. How Rambo's an unstoppable force. That's who he is, and it's
he's a one-man army.
Yeah, and we get to see that, and it's done really well. And
this is actually the only Rambo film that was nominated for an Oscar.
Oh, wow.
Really? Oh, what? For what?
I think wasn't it like best? What was it?
Cinematography or
no? It was.
I gotta look it up.
I thought it was
best sound editing.
Yes.
Well, yeah.
There it is. Yeah.
When you consider it a great action movie, yeah, you're gonna get nominated for sound editing. That's weird. That's the only one. Like,
that's the only one that was nominated for an Oscar. Yeah.
Not the first one.
Surprising.
Anyway,
you would think the first one would, but
yeah,
or something. But yeah, like you guys mentioned, this is the same year Rocky 4 came out, and like both Rocky 4 and Rambo 2 here were like
I think they were Stallone's biggest hits
of both franchises.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
any of Stallone's older films are freaking awesome.
Like 85 was pretty much like even though they're like 1985, there's a lot of great movies that year, but like that year was like, I guess you could say, Stallone's year.
Well, you figure not just of both the franchises, but just Stallone films in general. I think this and Rambo 2 and Rocky 4 were his biggest hits overall in his career.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's interesting. Yeah, 85 was like he that's probably his favorite year in his life. Yeah.
Well, you figure in 85 he blew Schwarzenegger out of the water when Schwarzenegger had Commando.
Mm-hmm. But hey, Schwarzenegger got the last laugh later on.
I still would have loved to see like a crossover between John Matrix and John Rambo.
Could you imagine that? That'd be
John.
Awesome.
Alex, I have to disagree with you on Arnold getting the last laugh. I mean, Arnold definitely had a strong 90s, way more than Stallone, but who's had better movies between 2000 and 2020?
Stallone,
hands down.
Well, you figure between 2000 and 2020, Stallone had Get Carter, which I like.
Yeah, that's an underrated one.
ICU is great.
That's a good one too.
He also had Rocky Balboa,
Rambo,
Expendables.
Rambo 4, the first Expendables.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay, maybe I need to retract that statement.
Even though Stallone in the 90s had great movies, but the problem was they didn't do well, unlike Schwarzenegger's movies did.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Because Schwarzenegger had Total Recall, which was a hit, Kindergarten Cop was a hit, and things like that. Twins, yeah, and Stallone wasn't doing well.
Of course, T2,
yeah. With Stallone, Demolition Man didn't do that well.
I don't know, man. I wanna go in the last action hero world and watch Stallone as the Terminator in Terminator 2. I want to see that movie. Release the slide cut on Terminator 2.
Oh my god,
that would be interesting.
I would definitely watch that. If that ever happened.
Even in the movie, Schwarzenegger said, "Oh yeah, I loved him. He was great in that movie."
Hey Julie, what would you think about a crossover between John Matrix and John Rambo?
I think that would be pretty cool.
That'd have been awesome.
Yeah.
like them teaming up together.
Not too late to make that movie.
That would be awesome. Yeah.
Can you
If
imagine
Sly
the
and
body
Arnold
people-
would have like set their egos aside. I mean, because now they're like best friends. But like,
Yeah.
if they would have set their egos aside, we could have had some great team up movies.
Yeah, and I'm sorry, but as much as Escape Plan, I think is okay, but still, I think they could have done better at that moment. They could have done better.
Honestly,
If they would have made that movie in the 80s, that would have been right. It's
Yeah,
not-
if it took place in the 80s, it probably would have been better off.
I mean, like, yeah, they made it 20 years before.
Yeah.
And the Expendables, if they had made it in the
They would have
80s.
been. They both would have still would have been in the prime. So it's
Well,
like,
I know this is off topic, but they originally wanted Sly and Arnold for Face Off.
Yes.
Yeah, that would have been really awesome.
it's not too late. They're making that remake. So
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
God.
was sure if they did the remake.
you know what? For the remake, I want. It should be Michael Cera and Jesse Eisenberg.
Shut up.
wait, say that again?
For the Face Off remake, I want to see Jesse Eisenberg and Michael Cera. That's
I'll
the
freaking
that-
come on.
Oh wait, you know what? There wouldn't be a difference with it, right? They're both.
Not too much.
You don't even want to see Jesse Eisenberg in any DC film, so
Yeah. Because they're both pretty much the same person. So it wouldn't be a difference, so would they? Yeah. But yeah. Anyway. Yeah. I enjoyed Rambo 2. It had good action, and this wasn't this the one where this is the Rambo movie that Gizmo was watching Gremlins 2, right?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
Because he has that line in the movie, like if you have to, what's the line go? Like to end war, to fight war, you have to become war.
Yeah, to become more, you have to become more.
Yeah.
To fight or something like that.
Just a survival war.
Yeah, you're talking
It's not a
Gremlins
become a
2.
war.
Yeah. That's the Rambo 2 was the one that Gizmo was inspired by. Yeah. So yeah, overall I enjoyed it. Pretty much agree with what you guys said. Even though I prefer First Blood, but this one was good too.
Another great line. There's more men out there. Fine, you'll find them.
And Rambo should have stopped Kreese from
Rambo showed him.
Hold on, where was? Oh, you know what? This is fine. It's okay. Kreese was in this movie, and even though he continued on his Cobra Kai ways afterwards, but it's a good thing Terry Silver wasn't in this movie. I'm just saying.
Mr. Rambo. Yes,
Rambo showed Kreese no mercy.
Yeah. Whew. That would have been as good.
Rambo got taught by Kim Sung Young of Korea.
He was the big war hero that Terry Silver was talking about.
Yep.
Yeah, it was Rambo. So you're saying Rambo was gonna show up in Cobra Kai eventually?
Yep. That's a surprise.
That's gonna be the big surprise next season, isn't it?
And he's gonna rip his heart out.
He's gonna make him eat anything that'll make a billy goat puke.
How do you live, John? Day by day.
Oh, yeah.
Bye.
I would pay to see Rambo. I would pay to see Rambo kill Terry Silver on screen. I'm just saying. Anyway, what did this? Did they use the same music at the end for this one? With the first one, is it the same song?
What? It's a long road.
Yeah. Is this? Did they use?
I don't think so. I'm not sure. Jerry Goldsmith did the music, but I'm not really sure.
I'm pretty sure that theme of that song is in all the movies.
Yeah, I don't think they had the instrumental. I think they had the instrumental.
Right.
Yeah.
I remember hearing it in this one.
It's played a lot in this
Okay,
one,
yeah.
when he's rescuing people and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Cool. Stats. Unless anyone else wants to say anything else.
No, I've summed up my thoughts.
Okay.
I know.
All right. Stats.
All right. So this movie, the budget was $25 million, so they gave it a $10 million increase from the first movie. U.S. dollars, it made $150 million. If you compare that to the first one, which was only $47 million, that was a big jump.
Yeah.
But worldwide, it did $300 million. That's the most.
Yeah.
Yes.
Of all of them. So the ratings, IMDb, it currently holds a 6.5.
What?
That's too low.
6.5.
Way too low.
Well,
That's
wait till
like
you hear
an
Rotten
average
Tomatoes.
score.
Rotten Tomatoes gives it a 35%.
Oh, come on. Those people are garbage.
Oh, Do they not know who the
Hey,
actors are gonna see
Rob.
one?
What about the audience score?
Audience score is low too, 60.
Oh, wow.
Hey,
Jeez,
Rob.
people hate this movie.
Hey, Rob.
What?
They're not garbage. They're garbage.
Yeah, garbage.
The garbage.
Yeah.
God, man, what's wrong with people?
Wait, so
They don't know a good movie when they see one.
35% Rambo 2 is a fucking awesome 80s action movie.
Yeah.
And that's what it is. It's an 80s action movie. It's
You know,
like
the problem with Rotten Tomatoes is a lot of times when they're reviewing these movies, they're not reviewing them when they first came out. You know, like Rotten Tomatoes wasn't around. So it's like you
That's
have
true.
an older group of people reviewing an 80s movie. It's like, yeah, maybe they don't like that type of film. Who knows?
Mm-hmm.
Rotten Tomatoes is kind of, I don't really like that site, but I give the stats because it's a popular site. So
Yeah. We gotta know the stats on it, though. So yeah, but you know what though, it was still a big hit, and I'm pretty sure Stallone didn't really care about the.
Oh yeah, he could care less.
Yeah, I mean, the audience at the time went to see his movies and they loved it. So
Yep.
you know, but yeah, all right, so it came out in 1995. 3 years later, in 1988, we got Rambo 3.
yes.
No First Blood on this one. It's just Rambo 3.
Just Rambo 3.
Yep.
Simple
Just
title.
make it simple. You know, it's like Rocky, you know, Rocky 2, Rocky 3, Rambo 3 now.
I might as well do this.
Yeah, they don't want to make it too picky.
Are you guys talking about Rambo 2 First Blood Part 3?
0.5, episode 4, chapter 4.
There it is. There's Rambo 3.
Yep, no subtitle this time.
Yeah, just Rambo 3. And,
This is another one that I absolutely adore.
Honestly, this is an underrated gem. I consider this an underrated gem.
Yeah.
I'll just say this: whenever I think of like most underrated sequels, this is like in my top 3.
Rob, you can go first on this one.
Okay, well, right off the bat, I'm going to say this. When Rambo was a trilogy, I did not like this movie. I did not. When I was younger, I thought this movie was boring. Even though which is weird because there is a lot of action in this movie, but I just thought the whole point of him is to go save the colonel.
Yes.
And I did not like the terrain, like the Afghanistan theme. I don't know what it was about it. It just seemed too kind of like plain for me.
What year? You saw this when it first came out, like back in '88.
No, this I didn't. Well, I saw this after I saw the first two.
Okay.
Now I can say my appreciation for it has changed. Like I have a deeper appreciation for it now because I'm older, obviously, and I can sit down and watch it as a Rambo film and appreciate what they did. It doesn't bother me that the setting doesn't bother me now. It's funny. This movie was shot in Israel, Thailand, and Arizona because in Israel they had so many restrictions that Stallone was kind of getting like frustrated with that. So they went to Arizona and they shot a lot of those scenes in Arizona, which is interesting. So. And of course, Stallone is jacked. He's probably the most jacked. I mean, other than like Rambo 4, he is freaking huge in this movie.
Yeah, Rob, real quick, I just want to say, Sly's size, the biggest he was is in 2 movies. It's this movie and Get Carter. That was the largest he was in all of his films.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, the plot, like I said, the plot is simple. It's actually 3 years after the events in Vietnam, and he goes to save the colonel because he's been taken, and so that he has to go save him. And like I think the action scenes are more memorable in the second movie than this movie. but I still think they're good. I mean, this might be kind of like not a big deal, but one of my favorite parts is that stick fight he has in the beginning.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I like that too.
There's something brutal about it. It just seems brutal, and that's when he first
the little fight in the village they have, and with the crowd and everything.
Yeah, his introduction.
Yeah.
Okay.
He it starts with him like he does the bandana thing. He ties it, and which is signature thing, and then he does that stick fight. And when he's walking up,
I thought he used gummy bears.
Hot Shots Part 2.
When he's walking up to the fight, it almost reminds me of Over the Top, like when he's walking up to the
Bull Hurley.
Well, no, when he's in the bar and he's walking up to the Smasher when he's doing his first arm wrestle. It reminds me of that, and like you have Richard Crenna back as Troutman. It's I don't know, this movie. I think it gets a lot of flack and a lot of hate, and like I said, I'm guilty of it. But I think my mind has changed. I consider this to be underrated because I think it is. It's if you talk to anybody, before the fourth Rambo movie came out, people would pretty much say, "Hey, Rambo 3 is the weakest." It just is. But yeah, Jerry Goldsmith did the music, of course. Again, has that same kind of feel to it. But yeah, written by Stallone, directed by Peter McDonald. But yeah, I would just, that's pretty much all I have to say. It's just not as bad as people make it out to be. So.
All right. Julie, you can go next.
Yeah, I always liked Part 3. I didn't have any problem with Part 3 because a lot of people just didn't care for it, but I like it, and there's action in there. And at first, when he didn't want to go with the Colonel, then the Colonel gets kidnapped, and they have to come to Rambo to get him to go rescue the Colonel. And then when he finally gets there and rescues the Colonel, I like the part where they're trying to jump over this other side of this, I guess it's like a building or cliff or whatever, I don't remember. And he's like, "Well, how are you, John?" And he's like, "Well done." I thought that part was kind of funny. And then in the other parts, he says, "Well, didn't I teach you how to ignore pain?" And he says, "Yeah." And he says, "Well, how's that helping?" He says, "Not too good." He says, "Don't take it personally." You got a little humor in Part 3, maybe not a lot, but you do have a little bit. And I like the stick fighting thing. It's really good at the beginning. And then you got this little boy who comes in who wants to go with Rambo and them to fight. And he ends up and gets in the way and everything. And then he has to make them go back, but the boy doesn't want to go back. And you could tell Rambo's kind of getting a little soft-hearted at the end because he wants to care for the boy as well. And he doesn't want to leave, but he has to.
Go home, kid.
Yeah, he knows he can't stay, but I don't know. I've always liked Part 3. I never had any problem with it. That's all I got to say on that.
So you agree with Rob that it's underrated?
Yeah, it is underrated, but I don't find it that underrated.
Okay.
No, there were also, want to mention this, there were a lot of problems. There was a guy hired to write the draft, but Stallone kept rejecting it. And then several weeks into filming, there were many of the film crews were fired. Like the director of photography and the director Russell, I forget his name, Russell
Mulcahy.
Yeah, they were fired, and because Stallone, I think at that time, like Stallone was just wanting like everything to be, his way, perfect, obviously, but there was just it seemed like there was a lot of issues with trying to get this movie made.
Yeah, I actually had no idea Russell Mulcahy was going to direct this. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Thomas, you can go next.
Okay. I would say, like, out of all the Rambos, this is probably my second most watched Rambo. because Rambo 2 and 3 were definitely the ones for me that I've seen the most, like out of all of them. This is a close second behind for me, like for most watched Rambo behind Part 2. Whenever I think of like most underrated sequels, I always think of Rambo 3 as one of them. Now, I've never had a problem with Rambo 3. I know a lot of people really trash the film and they say it's the weakest of the first three. Now, granted, yeah, like the villain in Rambo 3 is not as strong as, Murdoch in Part 2 or, things like that. It's definitely not as strong as that, but this is still the Rambo that I love. I mean, this is still the comic book Rambo. This is superhero Rambo, and stop texting me, whoever that is, please. And what's sad about this is that Peter McDonald, the director, went on to do the Neverending Story 3.
So he just wanted to do part 3s.
Yeah.
God, Jack Black.
Jack Black is the bully.
I mean, it could have been worse. He could have ended up directing RoboCop 3.
Ugh. That killed Fred Decker's career, that's for sure. But and it was really cool to see Crenna one more time as Colonel Troutman. I missed Richard Crenna, a great actor. He's greatly missed. I missed Richard Crenna, and I think the biggest problem with Rambo 3, like when it came out, it didn't do that well because it kind of suffered the same fate as Red Heat did with Arnold Schwarzenegger and Belushi, where both films dealt with the Soviets being the villains. Like it was us against the Soviets.
Well, the Soviets were the villains in Rocky 4, and that turned out well.
However, Sly really hates the Soviets.
But however, though, when 1988 rolled around, the U.S. and Russia were friendly with one another. Reagan and Gorbachev became friendly with one another, and there was no tension anymore. There was no more of that Cold War tension anymore. And unfortunately, because of that, these films suffered because we weren't really rivals with the Russians anymore when 1988 rolled around. And that's why
Stallone said it wasn't over, though.
If I can change, you can change. Anyone can change. So change.
Yeah.
And one of the things I know some people don't like the sense of humor that Rambo has. I love the fact that Rambo has a sense of humor, especially this one conversation with this one guy, and he's like, what's that? It's a blue light. What does it do? It turns blue.
Mm-hmm.
I love that line. And I love the line between Colonel Zazin and John Rambo. Who are you? Your worst nightmare. Love that line. And I love the line between Richard Trent, this one little piece of dialogue between Troutman and Rambo, where Colonel Zazin, drop your weapon. I'm never going to I'm going to take you back alive. The choice is yours. And then Troutman says, "What do you say, John?" Fuck him.
Yeah.
Great line between Troutman and Rambo. It's easily one of my favorite pieces of dialogue in the Rambo series. I love that line.
I always love when he gets mad, like when Rambo gets mad.
Yeah.
You fucked up.
Well, Rocky did too. Rocky got mad too, and it was fun seeing him get mad.
Never piss Stallone off, y'all.
Yeah, but like
don't do it.
Rocky would just punch your face. Like Rambo's gonna kill you.
He would tell you you stink.
Yeah.
Stink.
You stink.
I'm gonna
kill you.
You know what's stupid over the years? Like, Sly has been asked this all the time. Like, oh, who'd win in a fight, Rocky or Rambo? It's like, that's a stupid question.
That is really stupid.
Yeah.
Whoever came up with that is dumb. It's just stupid.
He'll have asking him that for years. It's like, come on. Like, think in your head, idiot.
Yeah. He's probably thinking, guys, they're not real.
Yeah. Can you see Rocky with a gun? Come on.
Rambo, I'm gonna kill you.
Hey, yo.
Hey, how do you spell Del Rio, Rambo?
Let's settle this in the ring, okay?
He'd still lose.
There's Forca 84 just came.
Hey, Forca.
Hey, Forka.
And I also love it. Another great piece of dialogue between Troutman and Rambo is, well, what do we do? Well, I guess surrounding them is out of the question.
Hell of a time for humor, John.
John!
I tell you, I'm really glad that Richard Crenna was the role of Troutman instead of Kirk Douglas. I just think Richard Crenna just brings that charisma and all that stuff. And Richard Crenna is a great actor. Like I said, I miss Richard Crenna. Summer Rental, Hot Shots Part 2, and I love how. And he even asked Stallone if it was okay if he can parody his character in Hot Shots Part 2.
Yeah.
And Stallone said, "Go right ahead and do it." And it made for a memorable role.
It's cool that he asked him for permission. He didn't have to. It's not like it's law or anything, but that's how much he respects Sly. Like, dude, they want me to make fun of your character. Like, should I? He's like, yeah, dude, go ahead.
Well, they also did that in UHF too, with Weird Al Yankovic.
Yeah.
Great scene.
Yeah, Rambo 3 is, and I love the whole army coming after Rambo, and the helicopter. Great.
Holy crap! Maybe we should
Okay, I'm
Stop it, Chloe.
I'm still doing that.
Let's stop talking about Rambo 3. She don't like it.
It seems like it.
I don't think the fact that this guy went on to do Never Ending 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
he wanted to do a serious film.
Like Never Ending Stories.
Yes. Fantastic. I'm a luck dragon. Shut the hell up. Luck dragon.
There's nothing more serious than a rock monster singing Born to Be Wild.
Falcor.
Hey guys,
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to head out, I think.
Oh, really?
Let's wanting to pick up.
Okay, well, just before you go, quickly, you can say what you thought about Rambo 4 and 5, because you're not gonna get a chance to.
All right. Well, at first I didn't like Rambo 4 because it was all kind of boring at first, and then once I watched it more than once, it actually grew on me. So now, like I say, I like Part 4 because he goes and helps those people and everything. Right. And there's definitely a lot of action, but there's also some tough scenes in here to watch.
Yeah.
In Part 4.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But it's still good. It's still Rambo. He still goes out there and does what he does. But yeah, I like Part 4. And Part 5, I really liked seeing it in theaters with my parents when it came out. I didn't care if he had long hair or not, but that didn't bother me not one little bit. He's still Rambo. He still can kick butt at his age. Nobody didn't think he would still be able to do Rambo. Well, he proved you wrong.
Yeah, he did.
And he goes after all them bad guys who hurt his niece and everything in Part 5. So,
yep.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I loved all the parts of Rambo, even Part 4 now. So.
All right.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
But I hate to have to go, but it's already trying to rain, so.
It's okay.
It's all right.
All right.
Thanks for joining us, Julie.
See you later.
Thanks for coming, Julie.
Yeah.
Bye.
Thanks for having me. Bye, y'all.
Stay safe.
We
Bye,
will.
Julie.
Okay.
Bye.
I'll talk to you later, Julie.
Okay, I'll be here. Bye.
See ya.
All right. Well, fortunately, we lost Julie, but the show must go on, right?
Yeah, but I pretty much summed up everything I said about Rambo 3. I love it.
He has pecs. He has pecs.
He has 80s pecs.
But yeah, that's my thoughts on Rambo 3.
All right. Well, I actually do like this one. I don't agree that. Well, maybe you do because I think it's good because I guess it is underrated because it's hated. But I don't think it's the level of the first two. When it comes to
I don't.
No,
think
it's not. No.
it comes to the action. I think the action in the second one is better. Is a little more fun. But I do like the story about how he has to pretty much help the Afghanistan rebels.
Yeah,
it's an Afghan-Soviet war. That's what it is.
Yeah, and how he has to save Troutman after Troutman. Like, this is the difference with the what the second one, like in the second one, Troutman asked him to go to this mission. He says yes. In this one, he says no. Troutman goes on his own. He gets kidnapped, and then he has to go over there and rescue him.
He even says to Troutman, my war is over.
Yeah. Like, I just want him. He's living peacefully, pretty much, at the beginning of the movie.
Yeah, he's
making his money.
He's in this Buddhist temple.
Yeah.
Yeah,
the monks.
You
like fucking monks.
That's why you like. Yeah, see, you should like this more now.
Yeah, but they didn't show up. They didn't show up though.
Well, they were in there dancing.
They're busy. Yeah, they're busy.
They're practicing. They're practicing their stupid magic bowling.
This takes place at the same time as Next Karate Kid.
Maybe Rambo was their bowling coach. Who knows?
Yeah. Crossover.
God.
Rambo's gonna show up in season 4 of Cobra Kai, and the monk's gonna help him out.
God.
That'd be awesome, dude. Anyway, Rambo 3 is better than than Karate Kid Part 3. Anyway, I like that.
I agree with that.
Wait, what? Okay.
Rambo 3 is better than Karate Kid Part 3. It is.
What?
It is.
All right.
Rambo 3 is better.
No, it isn't.
Really?
Is it better than Next Karate Kid?
Yeah.
Well, at least you admit that.
Well, anyway, even though I've seen Hard Shots Part 2 so many times, and a lot of times I get reminded of it, like the beginning fight, and Troutman, obviously, his speech and when he's trying to convince Rambo to go with him, obviously it was parodied in Hot Shots Part 2, like about the Goldilocks and the Three Bears, all that stuff. And some of the action scenes, like the torture scene, like, oh, okay, yeah, I expect them to spit and a bunch of water comes out, whatever. But yeah, I mean, it doesn't really ruin the movie for me, because I can still separate both. But yeah, and I like the little friendship Rambo has with the little kid.
Yes.
And it kind of sucks because like at the ending of the movie, he says the kid asks him like, "Will you ever see you again?" He says, "Pretty sure, but that doesn't happen." He never returns.
When he says, "Will I ever see you again?" At least it was better than Jake Lloyd's Anakin when he says it to his mother in Phantom Menace.
But he did see her again though.
Will I ever see you again? No, I'm saying his performance.
Oh, I was talking about his performance again.
Yes. Fake crier.
Leave Jake Lloyd alone.
No.
Yeah.
Fuck Jake Lloyd.
Poor kid. Hey, come on. Come on, Thomas. Come on, Thomas.
Hashtag savage.
Thomas, come on.
Hashtag. Hash brown.
Yeah, Hash brown. Leave Thomas alone. Yeah. Leave Jake Lloyd alone, Thomas.
Anyway. Leave Brittany alone.
Well, they should have.
Yeah, Chucky Doll, or sorry, Autobot. Yeah, he did. The third film does have some good stuff, but it's just not as memorable as.
Yeah, especially the last action scene.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that
was pretty good. But yeah, just the second one is simple plot. It's also a mission film. Just different country. That's all. But yeah. Yeah, I thought it was pretty decent for a simple little action movie of the 80s. So, yeah, and Stallone, again, does a good job as Rambo. And same with Richard Crenna as Troutman, which is his final role as Troutman.
Right.
Unfortunately. But yeah, I'm glad he, because when I first saw this, it was like around. It was the same year Rambo 4 came out. Like I knew he wasn't in Rambo 4 because he already passed away in real life. I thought like, oh man, hopefully he doesn't die in this one. But no, he didn't. I was like, okay, that's cool. At least he didn't die.
Richard Crenna.
Yeah, at least the character didn't die on screen. It's like, okay, that's
I'm
cool.
glad they haven't. Well, knock on wood, they haven't remade Rambo. It's like, to me, it's like you can't. It's like Rocky, you can't. Rambo is the same thing. It's like I cannot see someone else playing him. I just cannot.
No.
Yeah, you can't. It's kind of like, if they replace Arnold Schwarzenegger as the Terminator, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty much all I gotta say about Rambo 3. It's a decent sequel, and it's not bad. It doesn't deserve the hate.
No,
it does
deserve the flack. I think it's one of the most underrated sequels ever.
Was that, Dan? You know what? You disagree with that? You think it's bad? Yeah.
When it's my turn, I'll go.
Okay, go ahead.
No, I do like this movie. I have some issues with it, and yeah, it's not like I don't like the movie. This was the first one I saw in theaters, though. I actually did see this in theaters, but I don't remember who I saw it with. It was at
that's cool.
It was at the Kiwani Theater, though, so it was garbage.
Oh boy! So it was still crappy then.
Yeah, we had sticky floors and sticky everything.
Oh yeah, Rob, is that
the theater that you ran
like
it was back then?
Yeah, that's my.
They still have the same
we
stains.
have here. That's the theater here in town.
They still have the same sticky stains.
Yeah, they probably do.
It's weird. You walk into a time warp when you go in there.
That's the one where they don't have armrests, so you have to put your hand between your legs, so it looks like you're jerking off.
You might as well, because when you go in the bathroom.
Oh, I want to go. That's theater.
They have the same stalls from like the 50s. It's stupid.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep. Okay, yeah, so yeah, I did see this in theaters. And like I already mentioned, like Sly is like he's so jacked in this movie. I mean, he's very, very intimidating in this movie.
He's very juiced.
He's so jacked, I'm about to jack it. I mean, that's crazy. Jack.
Frost.
Oh. Jack and Nine.
This movie you guys were talking about, I think that is partially why it didn't succeed as well as the last one, is because the Russian-American feud had kind of subsided. And this doesn't affect it at that point, but this movie was definitely looked down more at in the 2000s because, of course, we had the Iraqi War and like the Gulf War. So people looked at this even more so worse, like, hey, Rambo's helping the enemy.
Yeah, but the context, it came out in 1988. It was a different time, you know?
Oh, yeah, no, I totally agree.
The thing that...
Yeah.
There's too many Karens out there.
You keep talking about Karen.
Karen.
But yeah.
That was a nice one.
Like what I liked, I mean, it still had good action. It had memorable scenes. I mean, when Rambo has to seal his wound with the gunpowder, that was cool. I liked the fight, the one-on-one fight he had with that big guy above the cavern.
Yeah.
I also liked the when he put the glow stick on his arrows, and he was doing the stalking thing with them in the dark in the caves.
Yes.
All cool stuff. So yeah, I mean, good action. I did have some issues. Here's the thing too. I was telling Rob this. This was the one Rambo movie I wanted to rewatch before we did this, and I didn't get around to it because I wanted to have a fresh perspective on it because it's been a few years since I've watched it. But
yeah,
I don't feel like they should have put the comedy in this movie, and it's not
Dance Against Comedy.
It's not that the comedy didn't land, because there were some good dry humor in this movie. There was some good dry humor, but it's not in any of the other movies. It felt out of place to me. Like, if you have 5 movies, and 4 of the movies Rambo doesn't crack jokes. So, but this movie had more lightheartedness to it, and I felt like it kind of turned away from the feel of the other movies. So that was one thing I had an issue with. It was already brought up, the villain wasn't very memorable. The Soviet, it was like that Soviet guy.
Oh, one-dimensional villain, yeah.
But yeah, I thought he was not very memorable.
That's one thing I can agree on. He's definitely not as memorable as like Murdoch.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and something that this is just Hollywood, but like in Rambo 1, 2, and 3, his knife got bigger and bigger in every movie. Like,
his knife,
I did notice that. Yeah.
Yeah. They even bring it up in like the special features, but like in Rambo 3, that knife is like gigantic.
His knife was working out.
Yeah.
He took steroids.
But that's actually one of the coolest shots in the movie. I love it when he flips the knife over and then he throws it. Like, that's awesome. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I mean, the action isn't as memorable as the second movie. So yeah, it's automatically to me like a step down from the second movie. But I feel like, well, Alex, you mentioned the kid.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Like, I feel like
you hated the kid, didn't you?
I hate the kid. No, I just feel like that didn't even need to be in the movie. Like, I feel like
I don't know, because remember in the first movie he mentioned his story at the end. There was a kid that wanted his friend to shine his shoes, and there was a bomb in there. So it's like kind of like a parallel. Like, oh, there was a kid that I guess you could say tricked him in his backstory, and then here's another kid. Like, okay, he's a good kid though.
Okay.
I think that's what Sly was going for.
Actually, listen, I agree with that, but I think it was executed poorly. I think if that was the case, I think Sly should have been hesitant with that kid throughout the scenes until the end, where he accepted the kid as, okay, this kid is not all kids. You know,
it's not like then again he didn't treat the kid bad from the beginning. It's just like he was like he just wanted to like kind of like tell him to like just move aside, like, you know, you're just a kid, you know.
Right. No, I don't think you're bad, but like you should have had some PTSD. You know, about that whole thing. If we're going by what you're talking about, you were saying you were going back to Rambo 1, First Blood. So then I was saying, okay, well, if you're
maybe he doesn't discriminate against all kids.
Yeah, I guess so. But
foreign kids, yeah.
Something I was going to mention something else. Oh, Richard Crenna, like I kind of feel like like the plot in this movie is just basically, oh, I got to save, you know, Troutman. I don't know. Like, I feel it was very simple, like almost too simple. I feel like it needed a little bit more. So that's kind of, I really wish I would have watched this one before just to have a little fresh perspective. But those are things that I remember. And again, it's not that I don't dislike the movie. I do like the movie. But I did have some issues with it. So
I remember, I don't know if Dan remembers this, but when we were younger, obviously, I remember Dan had Rambo 3 playing on the TV, and when we were going to sit down and watch it, but I wasn't interested. I was more interested in playing with his G.I. Joes.
I don't remember that.
I was on your stairway playing with G.I. Joes and while Rambo 3 was on.
Well, you could have pretended it was Rambo 3. Like, yeah.
Was I just like, well, forget you?
That's how interested I was.
You're like, stupid kid, this is the greatest movie ever made.
It turns out Rob was right. I should have just played with the G.I. Joes. I probably would have enjoyed it more.
Well, this is kind of like a sort of, you know what, in a way, this is kind of like a G.I. Joe movie, in a way.
He had a G.I. Joe character, by the way.
Yeah.
That's true.
I never had him.
I mean, this is a better G.I. Joe movie than the actual G.I. Joe movies we got.
I had a Rambo figure. They made Rambo figures, but
I'm pretty sure they did, yeah. I mean, they had action figures for like rated R and stuff, like RoboCop and Terminator, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it didn't matter. Yeah, right.
I had a lot of them.
Because kids love those violent films.
I had like figures from like Aliens and all sorts of stuff.
Yeah.
So I don't have any more to add. I can give you the stats if we're ready for that.
Are you done with Rambo 3?
Yeah.
Dan hates children.
Hey, I have 2 kids. He can't say that.
Well, he hates.
He's got you on that. He's got 2 kids.
Oh, he hates male children.
He hates other children.
Yeah, you know what's funny? You bring up something. I don't remember who told me this, but someone told me like that. Someone said that I like movies that have kids die in it.
Well, we'll get to that, won't we? Right?
Somebody brought that up to me, and it was funny because it was like, because then it was a joke, but they were like, because I was talking about like why I liked the movie, and I was like, oh, because I like realism.
Who said that to you?
I don't remember. I don't know. Somebody did though, but it made me remember.
Dan likes funny. Dan likes when children die in movies, and he hates humor.
Hey, if that would have died in this movie, it would have improved.
This is
that's what I mean. Yeah, he wanted the little boy to die.
This live stream took a dark turn, folks.
This is savage. I know, savage moments.
Yeah.
Holy crap!
Stats.
All right, so this one had double the budget of Rambo 2. It had a $58 million budget, but it only made
Goddamn.
53 million US. So it didn't make its budget back in the US but it did make 189 million worldwide. So I mean that's good.
Like a huge, it underperformed compared to the.
It underperformed. Yeah.
I was surprised they actually traveled to Thailand and Israel to film some of this stuff. Like, I'm just surprised they actually did that.
And another thing off topic here, but wasn't Rambo 2 like mostly shot in Mexico?
I don't know.
I think it was New Mexico. I think I might be wrong.
Yeah.
Old Mexico. Maybe it's shot in Old Mexico.
We'll get to that in Last Blood, right?
Oh man.
IMDb, it's low. This is the lowest of the 5 films, 5.8.
What?
Damn.
Yeah, it should be above average. This movie should be above.
Here's what's funny though: the Rotten Tomatoes score for Part 3 is higher than Part 2. It has a 39%.
Oh, I mean, it's not that much.
I mean, yeah, that's.
And then audience score was 45%.
They can go fuck themselves.
Oh wait, hold on. You know what? Hey Rob, you know what they can also do?
That sounded wet. Yeah, you know what? Whatever. Rambo 3.
Well, yeah.
I disagree with like the 5.8.
And this was what, like, when Stallone's
his career was floundering.
Yeah, a bit. Yeah, you had this, and then Rocky 5, and then what? Stop My Mom Will Shoot over.
He tried to do comedies, and I don't know. Like he tried. Arnold succeeded at comedies. I think he wanted to do that too.
Schwarzenegger definitely had a better success with comedy.
Definitely.
Yeah.
No question.
And what's sad is, because remember we said like 85 was Stallone's biggest year with Rocky 4 and Rambo 2. And then after that, his career, like box office wise, floundered. Like Cobra didn't do as much as they thought. Like Over the Top was a flop. Rambo 3 underperformed. Tango and Cash wasn't much of a hit. Demolition Man wasn't much of a hit.
Well, there was never a moment where both Stallone and Schwarzenegger were both, having success at the exact same time.
Right. Yeah.
Demolition Man, actually, I think that actually did what actually decently, but Judge Dredd is the one that failed.
Yeah.
Judge Dredd was a flop, yeah.
But Cliffhanger was a big hit though in the 90s for Sly.
Yeah, you figure Cliffhanger you figure Stallone didn't really have a big hit until after Rambo 2, and then he didn't really have another big hit until Cliffhanger.
You're not gonna die.
All right. So yeah, this came out. The Rambo 3 came out in 1988. There wasn't another movie for another 20 years.
20 years.
Damn! In between time, Stallone.
They wait forever to make these sequels. I tell you.
Yeah.
I think this is one of them where it works really, really well, though.
Why is the comeback king, man?
Yes.
Yeah. In 2008, we finally got Rambo 4, aka Rambo, or in other countries, John Rambo.
Hey, it's actually Rambo 3 First Blood Part 4.
Episode 5.
I actually prefer John Rambo.
I agree. He should have went the Rocky Balboa route with the title.
Yeah, just call it John Rambo. Especially since in this movie, they never call him Rambo. They just call him John, don't they?
There's a couple.
Well, the flashback.
Yeah, they call him. He says John, you hear the name Rambo in the flesh, but that's it. Everything else is just John.
No, the guy that comes to tell Sly that those people were kidnapped. He's like John Rambo.
Oh,
yeah, the preacher guy. Yeah,
you're right about that. But he never calls himself Rambo. He just calls himself John.
That's his name.
I know, but I'm saying he's like, my name's Rambo, John Rambo.
Did you say something? You can drop the 1,000-yard stare. I've seen it all before, bitch.
Yeah, that guy. He has no idea who he's talking to.
He's in Creed.
Yeah, I think he's good friends with Stallone. I think.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, he was in Creed. All right, Thomas, you can go first in this one since this was the first one you saw, right?
Yeah, this was actually the first Rambo that I ever.
Dude, what a way.
Who are you?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Who are you, Thomas?
More any of you.
Did you see this in theaters or not?
No, I did not see this.
Okay.
I saw this actually. The way I actually saw this was actually when it first came on cable.
Ah.
So it was actually around I guess early 2009 maybe.
Mm-hmm.
I forget. I think I might have.
Yeah, that sounds right. When it takes like a year to go. Okay, go.
I might have seen this on. I want to
HBO Max.
It was
There's a free promotion there for HBO Max.
I knew it was on. I know for a fact I knew it was on HBO when I saw this.
See, I knew it.
Oh yeah, I forgot Julie Benz was in here from Jawbreaker. That's right.
She looks different in this movie.
Very.
She has her different hair color or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, but this was actually surprisingly enough my first introduction to Rambo, to the movies, because I've heard of the character of Rambo, and I've heard of the first 3 Rambos, but I didn't see those until much later. But and even around this time, for Stallone films, I never really I saw I saw the Rocky films plenty of times. And for some of his standalone films, around this time before I even saw any of the Rambo movies, I've seen I saw Over the Top I watched a lot and things like that, the Rocky movies, and I've heard about the character of John Rambo, and I heard it was one of Stallone's most popular characters that he ever played, other than Rocky. and when I saw this, I'm like, oh wow, Rambo, what's this and all that stuff. And I saw this, and I was blown away. I love the brutality in this is off the charts. It's violent. It's action packed. And very realistic, and
almost too realistic.
I tell you, Stallone did an excellent job directing this movie. He really did.
Yeah,
I feel like Stallone after this, Stallone did the first Incredibles, and I don't think he directed ever again after that.
Yeah, unless you count ghost directing, which he likes to do.
Yeah,
he's a ghost.
Rambo 2 and Cobra.
Actually, I don't like that about him because I think sometimes he's a good director. If he's going to do it, he just needs to do it and not kind of step in, because I think sometimes it hurts the movie.
Yeah.
You got to give a guy talent though, who can act in the entire movie and direct the movie.
And he also
sure.
wrote the film too.
Yep.
And he did his stunts.
Yeah, exactly.
So
and it's crazy to believe that he did his own stunts, considering his age around this time. But
who else can say that they've done that? Who else
do their own stunts at that age?
No, I mean do their own stunts, direct the movie, and be in the movie,
and write it too.
Tom Wiseau.
Yeah. Okay. Well. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
That fight scene, that fight scene at
one.
the end, he did his own stunts. Now he pushed.
That's pretty damn funny.
He pushed and punched.
I gotta admit,
that's it.
I gotta admit that was.
That's it. That's the only one I can think of.
You're tearing me apart, Lisa.
Only Sly and Tom Wiseau have done that.
That was pretty damn clever.
Directed, acted, and do their own stunts.
He did hump the chest.
Yeah, that was all him.
No, he humped the navel. That's what it was.
That's all him.
No, he
humped. God.
Oh, hi, Mark.
Continue. Yeah.
Oh, hi, Mark. But
I thought my dad came to see you. I'm like, what?
It really did showcase. I think the film really did showcase of what Stallone's age around this time and how well he kept himself in shape for this role. And
huge, yeah.
And what's crazy is I think this is one of the few movies where they dig something up after 20 some years, and this is one of those rare times where it works, because a lot of the times it doesn't work, because it didn't work with Bill and Ted, it didn't work with Dumb and Dumber, it doesn't really work a lot of the time, and I think this was one of the ones where it worked.
It's worked twice for Sly, even.
Yeah, and Rocky Balboa, the same thing.
Yeah,
where they dug up an old character from back in the day and they brought him back, and And you had great films like Rambo and Rocky Balboa, and
well, I know Stallone wasn't happy with the way he looked, though. Like he said, I remember him saying he will never get that big again.
He was bloated.
Yeah,
he definitely got himself juiced up for this role. I don't know, like in which film was he probably more juiced up? I can't really decide, either this or Rambo 3. They're pretty.
I think Rambo 3 he was bigger in Rambo 3. I think.
Yeah.
Or, I mean,
it's kind of
I meant like muscle wise,
It's very Rambo 3 and Get Carter were his two. He was the biggest muscular wise in those movies.
Yeah. But yeah, and I absolutely, one of the things that I absolutely love about this version or this movie Rambo is the setting in the jungle, like the jungle setting.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that setting, and like I said, I love the action. I love the 50 caliber scene.
Yeah, Forca said it was based on real genocide. They actually show real. Don't they show real pictures or real footage?
They do.
Yeah,
they do.
They do. And wasn't it true about this film too, where Stallone was like banned from?
He is.
Yeah, Burma. I think
Burma. Yeah.
It's Burma and Myanmar. They're actually, it's the same country. They actually changed the name, but yeah, Sly is banned from going there, and if actually a copy of this movie is found there, you get put in jail.
Wow.
In fact, I think it's Stallone. Like it's almost like he brought the attention to what's really going on.
That's exactly what
that was his goal. Yeah,
that's exactly what he wanted to do.
So if that means in real life he is really Rambo. In real life, he is really Rambo.
Yeah.
But yeah, everything about this film, I think everything about this film works. The violence, the action. Stallone does a great job performing wise, not just on the action front, but also shows really great acting chops. And it was cool to see, Julie Benz. I like her. I in the musical score, not Jerry Goldsmith, because Jerry Goldsmith had passed away by this time.
Yeah.
But I still think that I still think Jerry Goldsmith's musical scores are better in the first three Rambo films, because I just love Jerry Goldsmith as a composer. But I still think the score in this film is still pretty good. But I just still prefer Jerry Goldsmith.
Don't they use pieces of Jerry Goldsmith's score here?
Yeah,
they do.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And Stallone, and once again, Stallone does a great job directing the film. And I think Stallone is I would say Stallone's one of the more underrated directors, because I think he did a good job with Rocky 2 and the Expendables and things like that. And I think I really do wish Stallone would direct more movies. I would like to see him direct more, because I think he hasn't directed since the first Expendables.
Like Dan said, he likes to ghost direct.
True, yeah. But yeah, overall, this is an excellent bringing back of an old character from back in the day and showing it to the current generation. And it's one of those rare films where that kind of thing works. And this and Rocky Balboa are the two prime examples of that, because I like 99.9% of the time when you dig up old characters like this, it doesn't work out. Look at Dumb and Dumber, or look at, Bill and Ted and things like that. Like, it doesn't really work out too well. And I think Rocky Balboa and Rambo are in that 1% range, or that 0.1% where it does
not
work.
That low, but that minority.
Yeah, but a lot of the times it don't work out that way. But
you guys loved Blade Runner 2020. What took those?
Yeah, they did a good job there.
Yeah.
Blade Runner 2049 was good.
Yeah. That's an example, like, and people actually loved it. Yeah.
But yeah, overall, this is an excellent film, and I think I like Last Blood, but I still think this is a great send off for the Rambo character,
like how Rocky Balboa was.
I honestly thought this movie should have ended it. Just the way it ended.
Rambo's character in this really did come full circle, and I really liked and I liked that because it was kind of a callback to what Troutman said. You know, when he gonna come full circle? When he comes full circle in Rambo 4. So I thought that was a nice little callback to Troutman in the first.
Well, like the way it ended in this movie, it's like he almost looked like he did in First Blood when he was walking home and
his performance in this one is more like First Blood. He's a little more silent, just like that one.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's why.
Yeah, but overall, I'm not gonna sum up my thoughts here. I love the movie. And it really made me fall in love with Rambo. This was really the one that made me fall in love with the Rambo character. So I give it a huge thumbs up. I give it a solid 9 out of 10.
All right. Yeah, I'll go next in this one. This movie was fucking brutal. Even watching it again, I forget how really just messed up it is. Like, children are getting killed, chopped. First, they chop them up and then they throw them in the fire. Shot at. I'm like, whoa. It's like, but at the same time, like, that's the point of the film. This film was trying to do is show this is what happens in these countries.
Yeah.
People, like, just peaceful village people get killed. You know, children get killed. You know, little toddlers. You know, it's just in a brutal, like, messed up way you can think of. You know, it's like, but like, you know, those action scenes, you know, I can't say they're fun because they're not. Because they're brutal, but they're well done. You know, it's supposed to be disturbing, and it is. And Stallone gets that across. And this is honestly, this is one of the best in the franchise. But because it's so brutal, it's hard to rewatch it. So, you know, this is actually the one I've seen the most.
You like horror. You like horror movies, so
yeah. But this is supposed to be realistic. It's like, damn, you know. Even though it is just a movie. But yeah, Stallone. Other than First Blood, this is probably like his best performance as this character. Again, like more silent role, a little more reserved. But when he gets going, he kicks a lot of ass and takes a lot of names.
Well, I mean, if you think about it, he was silent too in Rambo 2. He wasn't.
Yeah, but not as much because he was around people more.
Well, he was around his partner, but I'm saying he was really quiet.
In comparison to the first one, not as quiet, but still, you know, maybe he's just a quiet. You know, Rambo just wants to be a quiet guy. You know.
Let me ask you this: would you say he was more silent in this film or in First Blood?
I think this one.
I think this one he was, because he's more on his own.
Yeah,
I mean, he seems like he just wants to get away from people.
Yeah, no Troutman. There's no Troutman in this movie, so like that's part of. I think that's part of the reason why he's kind of lost.
But I mean, he's like living by himself, or he's you know, he's kind of away from.
I kind of wish Richard Crenna lived past 2003.
Yeah,
I would have liked to have seen Richard Crenna one more time as.
Well, the story would have been a bit different, you know.
Right, yeah, but I mean, maybe it would have been cool to see like a cameo by Troutman at the very end.
Yeah.
Like
well, if you watch, that's one of the things I was going to mention. The director's cut of this movie, it does show some things with Crenna, like the flashbacks, but it does show a lot more things that I feel like connected to the other movies more than the theatrical cut. Mm-hmm. But I still like the director's cut. If you haven't seen it, definitely check it out.
Yeah, I've only seen the theatrical.
Yeah, just to Alex, you may like the director's cut better, and I just say that because Rob showed me the director's cut, but I think I prefer the theatrical, but the differences are in the director's cut. The director's cut, the violence is toned slightly down. The theatrical, and there's more
extended scenes.
There's more like I don't want to say the word dialogue, but more character scenes with Rambo. Mm-hmm. So you get more development in the director's cut.
Yeah.
Well, I felt like this one just had just enough, you know, to keep the story going, and the pace is actually really quick. This is probably like the fastest one, honestly. That and Last Blood, actually. But this one, I think it's paced a little bit more better than Last Blood. Even though they're both short movies. I think aren't they all short? I think none of them are long.
Well, they're not really. Yeah, Rambo 2 is pretty quick.
Yeah, they're not like none of them are like 2 hours. They're all less than that. But yeah, I like like since Troutman is not in this movie, the character Rambo's kind of lost. He really has nobody, literally nobody. So he's just like kind of just fishing, just living day to day. Nothing going on in his life, literally nothing. And until like the Christian missionary group comes in and wants his help. And I kind of like how the Julie Benz character kind of brings the humanity back to him, back out of him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the one guy he's trying to talk to him, he don't give a shit, like whatever. And then when she starts talking to him, he starts paying attention more, and he really only cares about her out of any all the other out of the group. When they're traveling and they get cut off by the Berman pirates. Like once they start saying like I'll bring the woman to me, he gets in the action mode. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like he cares about her. He's I don't know if he would have done the same thing if she wasn't there. That's up to debate, I guess. So I like that little connection they have with each other. Even though he warns them, like, if you go there, you're probably you're gonna get yourselves killed, or at least kidnapped. It's not gonna go on well. He tries to warn them like plenty of times, but they don't want to listen. And then he has to save them. And that whole sequence, the rescue all the way to the ending battle, it's like one huge long set piece. And it's like, and it's done well, and even though it's in nighttime, like usually nighttime action scenes like that, I don't like because they're because you can't really see. But Stallone did it in a way that you can't see most of the action. It wasn't too quick edit, crap like that. And yeah, the last action scene where he just kills everybody, all the bad guys, and he kills the final boss, the leader.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. He gets his.
This is what Rambo 2 should have been. Like, this is what I wanted Rambo 2 to be kind of like gory, like this.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's what I wanted, but
yeah. I feel like this is like it's like he kind of like redid Rambo 2 and 3 kind of mixed together with this one. He took the best parts of Rambo 2 and 3 and then made it better with this one. Like, he has to. Like he wants to, he asked him to do a mission. No, the other people go. They get kidnapped. He has to go and rescue them.
Yeah.
Kind of like I felt like how Rocky Balboa was kind of like him doing Rocky 5 again, but better. Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that.
And I agree. Like this was a good send off for the character, especially how it ends. Like he finally goes back home.
Yes. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. He finally goes back home and
he comes full circle.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, this movie, like, it's really well made, brutal, very brutal action movie.
Very much so.
Like this is probably the most brutal action movie.
It's crazy.
In a long time.
Yeah, it's crazy the stuff they show. I mean, it's just it's
like I'm surprised it didn't get an NC-17 rating, man.
Probably would have. I mean,
yeah.
I think it would get that in today's age.
I mean,
oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, showing kids getting
bloody
stuff is crazy.
Bloodiest movie ever. Yeah.
I would say it's the bloodiest out of all the Rambos.
It has
definitely,
to be.
definitely.
Yeah, I mean, like going along with what you said, Alex, it's like it is almost hard to watch because it's a movie, but they're showing you like this is real. Like this is what happens to these people. Yeah. Like that's rough.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's kind of like how with like Last House on the Left, like it's realistic. It's just even though it's just a movie, and that's part of that marketing for that movie. It's just a movie. You can like, but it's done in a realistic way. Like, oh man, it's hard to watch.
It is hard. Yeah, that is hard.
It's brutal. You know, stuff like crazy, messed up stuff like this happens in real life every day.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah. Did you guys like the what were they called? Mercenary group that comes in the second half of the movie?
I did.
Yeah, I did.
like them.
I feel like they should have gotten a little more development. Like, do they get more development in the director's cut?
I
think there are more scenes with them.
There are more scenes, but as far as like, I don't know if there's like that much more development.
How much longer is the director's cut? Like 10, 15 minutes?
I believe it's like 10 or 12, something like that. Yeah.
All right.
But
I did like them. I just I would like to like those characters get a little bit more development.
Yeah. Well,
it's 8 minutes longer.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, 8. Okay. Never mind. 8 minutes.
Yeah.
Alex, since you brought it up, that was a complaint some people had that were like, oh, like I didn't like that Rambo got helped like by another team. Like they were like, oh, he should have been a one-man army. But again,
he got help in part 3 and 2.
I feel like Sly was going for more of a realisticness to this movie. So I think that's why.
Well, he's a little bit older. It's like he's got he can't do things like
he's still human,
He's still human, yeah. I mean,
so I don't really. That's a nitpick to me.
The extended cut, the title is actually John Rambo.
Yeah,
I like that title.
Mm-hmm.
That's a great title.
It should have been the title, well, it's not like the first movie was called Rambo, and then also this one's called Rambo.
Right.
I was like,
Well,
there's just like confusion in the order it goes. It's like First Blood Part 2, Rambo 3, Rambo.
It's what it kind of reminds me of. It kind of reminds me of like Fast and the Furious.
Yeah, but even the Fast and Furious have numbers sometimes.
Well, the thing I can say about the Fast and the Furious, at least they changed the title enough where it's unique, right. I guess, in a way. But like this is to me, this just seemed lazy. It's just like, like Rambo. Let's just call
the only
Rambo.
one, the Fast and Furious, the only one that was lazy was the fourth one, which is called Fast and
Furious. Well, yeah, that's where it started. Yeah, I mean,
and then they did the number thing again. Fast 5, Fast 6, or whatever, Furious 6.
Yeah, like then they went to like Furious 7 and
That's cool. Okay, yeah. But yeah, overall, I it's one of the best ones. It's really, really well made. It's really good, but it's rough to watch.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. Rob, you can go next.
Okay. Honestly, I remember the day. Dan, it was me. Let's see. It was me, Dan, my dad. I think his dad went to go see Rambo at the theater. Mm-hmm. And I remember when we were watching it, something happened while we were watching it, and like the screen screwed up or whatever. I think we even stayed for the whole movie.
Real quick, this is what happened. So it was the third act of the movie. The third act of the movie, all of a sudden, the screen split right down the middle in half, and half of the screen was the movie, and the other half was the movie in black and white.
What?
Yeah, we and it's funny, like it kept going, it kept playing, and like we just watched it, and then when we left the theater,
you guys probably thought it was part of the movie?
No, we knew something was wrong, but
we left the theater. We left the theater, and they were handing out free tickets because of the experience.
Yeah, so they knew right away. So when we were walking out, there was a guy at the exit of that theater, like, "Oh, sorry about that. Here's a free movie ticket."
Mm-hmm. But it's like, honestly, I didn't know what to think going into this movie, but I was blown away. Like this movie, like you've already touched on the violence and everything. I was not expecting it to be this violent at all. And yeah, it is kind of hard to watch in certain scenes, but I think that really helps this movie because it is different in that way from the other movies, so it kind of stands alone in that regard. But I think again, going back to how Troutman said, okay, Rambo is so good at what he does. Again, he eats things that makes a Billy Goat puke. He was trained to kill, period. So in this movie, it's like you get to see all the savage things that he can do, and they actually show it. And it's like, I think again, that goes back to like the character of Rambo and what he's capable of. But I felt so bad for the people, the Karen people that were getting slaughtered for no reason, and those guys who kept playing that game where they'd make them run across the water and put bombs in the water. As soon as Rambo showed up and with that bow and arrow, that is like one of my favorite scenes of all time, is when he shows up with the bow and arrow and he takes those guys out while the other guys are hiding. The missionaries are hiding and they're just sitting there watching. And I'm thinking to myself, I had a big smile on my face. I'm like, yeah, you guys eat your words. Like you thought this guy was a boatman, and look, he just took out those guys.
He's the boatman and stays in the boat.
I think the third act is fulfilling. I freaking love the third act. But when the leader guy, when he gets stabbed by Rambo, and then Rambo looks at him, and he like has this look when he appears behind the tree like that. I love the music plays, the Rambo music plays. I'm like, man, this is badass. Like this movie, like they hit all the right notes. And the people who complain that there's mercenaries, it's like the mercenaries were there like with him. It's like the mercenaries needed help. That just shows you how these mercenaries, Rambo didn't need the mercenaries. They needed him.
Yeah.
So it's like switched around. And like honestly, well directed. Sly did a good job with writing and all that. So this movie, it the thing is, it's a lot higher on my list than it was as far as ranking goes. It was a lot higher than it was previously, because I did revisit it. I've actually seen it a lot, but I do like this cut better than the directors, but I do like the directors as well. I think it's worth a watch. So.
Yeah, I agree. They're both good.
Yeah, the director's cut is really good.
So that's all I have to say. It was a really good theater experience. Probably because I didn't see any of the Rambos in theater, so it was a really good experience for me. Yeah. So, well, except for that first experience, that was garbage. But
see, I thought you were gonna say like all of a sudden like the screen turned to black and like a bunch of Burman soldiers came in. You're not allowed to watch.
Well, as much as Dan and I can't stand that stuff now, I'm surprised. I don't even know what happened. I don't even think we got up because the movie was going on. It's like we didn't get up to complain.
We didn't, and because and my guess,
sucked into the movie.
It was the third act, and it was like the action was going on, and I think in my mind, I probably was like, I don't want to miss what's happening, but it definitely pulled me out of the movie a little bit.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So that's my thoughts. Very, very good.
All right, Dan.
Yeah, you guys have covered pretty much most of everything we've talked about. I really like this movie, and again, I think it comes down to the realistic aspect. I just feel like that was a nice change from like the last two, which were more of like entertainment value movies. Which again, there's nothing wrong with that. I liked that they went that route, and it was shocking. I mean, I remember sitting there in the theater, just kind of like right away being like, "Oh my gosh!" Like, I can't believe like the violence of this movie and what they're showing. But it's a good movie. It is more like the first movie, I think, as far as the feel. And I think again, just like I think Rocky, I think Sly had success with Rocky Balboa in that he kind of went back to the first movie, and I think that's what he was thinking with this series. Okay, let's do the same thing since that was successful. But yeah, you get Sly returns again, just does a great job as he always does. Thomas mentioned the environment. I like where they were. the cast. I mean, as much as they weren't very developed characters. I mean, the villain of this movie was probably developed just as much as the third movie, which didn't have as much development, but because of how evil he was in this movie, he was memorable.
Yeah.
So, and the funny thing is about that, all those people, not all, but like that, the leader and a lot of the cast members, they were actually from the Burma area. So these guys weren't even like actors necessarily, but they were like, we want to use it to make it more realistic.
They were kind of like extras.
Yeah, in a sense.
I think the leader, the bad guy leader, he was actually, I think, part of the Karen people. Like he was actually a native there, which is cool to think that he did such a good acting job as a bad guy. That just shows you how some of these people can just act,
Right, and it reminds me of the scene where all the missionaries are captured, and they're all they're told early on, don't look at him in the face, and then that one guy looks at him, and you see the leader be like, oh, you looked at me, okay, well you're picked now. Remember, he ends up dying. They hang him, and so it's just I mean, the action sequences are all memorable. Like when Rambo first loses it on the boat where he takes those guys out when they're going to take Julie Ben's character, Sarah, I think is her name. That's it's awesome, and it's great to see, and I think that's what's good. I mean, even though those atrocities are really happening, it's nice to in the film when it's Rambo's gonna take these guys out. It kind of gives you a sense of good, some good going on, even though it's just a movie. But I mean, Sly again directed it. Did a great job. It had to have been tough, doing triple threat kind of stuff there. But I don't really have anything negative to say about the movie. Again, I don't know. I really liked it. And here's the thing: when I left the theater, I remember just being like, "Yeah, that was better than I expected." But over time, I think I liked the movie even more. I just have a better appreciation for it. One thing I will mention in the director's cut, there is a cool scene where that's not in the theatrical cut, where in the theatrical cut, after he kills the guys on the boat and then he takes the mercenaries and Sarah and drops them off, or not the mercenaries, sorry, when he takes Sarah's group and drops them off.
Yeah, the missionaries. Yes.
Yeah. There's a scene in the director's cut where Rambo goes back to that boat that he
burns it.
He hit it off to the side and he destroys it. And in that scene, because it's evidence, obviously, he doesn't want people to know that happened. But in that scene, he pulls out the Rambo 3 knife and he gets rid of it. It's almost like he's mad that happened. He didn't want to be violent anymore, and so he takes the Rambo 3 knife. He actually uses it in that scene to help destroy the boat, and then he throws it in with the boat to get burned. So I just thought that was kind of interesting. But that's otherwise I don't really have anything more to add. You guys covered pretty much everything. So
him burning the boat and evidence, that's in the theatrical cut. That's the cut I saw.
Oh
well, no, they don't show. Well, they don't.
Not the knife part, but I remember the.
No, the theatrical cut doesn't hardly show it at all. The director's cut shows a lot more of the burning.
Alex, you are right. It is in there, but Rob, that's the point I was trying to make. It's like an extended scene.
Okay, I see.
Yeah. See more of that.
It's
my mistake.
Okay. All right.
So I can give stats if we're ready on that.
Yeah.
I mean, you can give the stats.
Yeah.
So this had a slightly smaller budget than Rambo 3. It had a $50 million budget. And again, just like Rambo 3, it underperformed in the U.S. It only made $42 million. But worldwide, it did $113 million. So it was a mild success as far as money goes.
And it did really. I remember it did really well in DVD sales.
Yeah,
it did really well.
I think I think foreigners have given Sly more of a redemption chance than the U.S. has. Like when you look at the box office numbers for a lot of his films after 2000, it's like the international numbers usually are higher.
Yeah.
Anyway, IMDb it has a 7 out of 10. That's surprisingly. I'm just surprised that it's actually that high.
Yeah.
Rotten Tomatoes, though, it's got a 38%, which is 1 point less than Rambo 3. So apparently it's worse than that one. But audience score is 69%, which is, at this point of the first 4 movies, it's the second highest rated.
Mm-hmm.
So there you have it.
The violence was too much for some people.
Yeah, really. I thought that was low. I'm like, what?
Uh-huh.
It needed more kid killing.
Bunch of Karens.
Yeah.
It could be titled like the Karen Show or something.
Yeah, it's the Karen Show.
Yeah.
I did not realize when we get into the 5th movie that it's been 11 years since the 4th one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Boy,
years.
Has it been that long?
Yeah.
It was an 11-year difference.
You can tell the age on Stallone too. Like
that's true.
I mean,
and I remember like when Part 5 was in development, like there was like one of the stories that was floated around was like it was gonna be Rambo versus like a creature.
Right.
Thing.
So yes. So anyway, there's this script that Sly has been attached to. I mean, he's still attached to the script. It's a book called Hunter.
Yes.
And it's like a predator. That's basically what the book is. And Sly's, for whatever reason, like, they haven't made the movie for, like I said, whatever reason. But like they were thinking about turning that script into this movie, which I'm kind of glad they did because I don't want them to bring supernatural elements.
That would have been like Jump the Shark. Man.
Yeah. So I'm kind of glad they did. But he is still officially attached to that movie if they ever make it. And I think that'd be awesome.
I mean, just not as a Rambo movie, but like as just like a standalone kind of thing.
Right. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah.
He should just appear in a Predator film with Arnold. Yeah,
that would be cool. Actually,
why not just do that?
Yeah.
They probably want him to just be a cameo.
Yeah, it's always just a cameo. That's all you're good for.
Yeah, screw you, Shane Black. He's an idiot.
Fuck Shane Black.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll go first in this one, and there's a reason why I want to go first in this one.
Okay.
Before I get to the movie, I like the movie, but I got to rant on something. The reaction to this movie, where this movie was accused of being xenophobic, racist, and all that stuff. And I was like, I remember hearing about that before I even saw the movie. And then when I finally saw, I'm like, where's the racism?
Are you talking about towards like the Mexican people?
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's important that I need to say this because I'm the Mexican here.
No, I understand.
I need to say the criticism was like when the year this movie came out, we had that one guy who was president. That doesn't matter. That's irrelevant. Because this is not what this movie was about anyway. Second, the fact that it's portraying Mexico in a bad light because there's the plot pretty much is like he's got to rescue his niece because she was kidnapped and thrown in prostitution and all this stuff and like
which happens in the U.S. too, by the way.
Yes, and it happened in Europe and Taken. Remember Taken, the movie people loved and said that was a great movie, which is I do like that movie. Just the first Taken. And this one's like this shit happens. There's a lot of places, and take it from me, guys. Like, dude, I've had family members who were not kidnapped. Well, not blood-related flamers, but I do have family that wasn't blood-related, but was kidnapped back in 2002, 2003.
Oh, jeez.
Didn't make it. He was an uncle of a cousin who that guy wasn't related to me, like blood-related, but he was in a way. Yeah, so got kidnapped. Didn't make it. He got killed. I've had a cousin who they robbed her car. Police didn't do anything. She had a knife through her throat. Again, it's happened in Mexico, guys. This is a more recent one. Another cousin of mine who's a mechanic He was offered a job to somebody who was connected to these, drug lords, and they pretty much threatened him like, "You mess up, you know what's gonna happen." He got, and they offered him a lot of money too, to do the job. He got so overwhelmed and so paranoid, and he, his anxiety went through the roof to the point he had to go to the hospital. Just because he was threatened. And this is just just the stories I know, and this is I've heard other stories that are far worse, but like this, and so for critics to say Sly to show this in your movie is bad, like I take kind of offense to that because like this shit happens in real life. So I in a way I detested that criticism of the movie. Like you can criticize the acting, you can criticize the writing and dialogue, fine. That's fair, but to say like, oh, don't have this movie come out in this time point of history just because who was the president at the time is bullshit, I think. And with that said, I like the movie. I like the movie, and I need to get that off my chest. It's very important. I like the movie. The acting's good. It's not as good as the Rambo 4. I still think the Rambo 4 should have been the last one. But yeah, it's good.
Yeah,
I like that image right there.
But I think it doesn't ruin the ending of Rambo 4 for me. I mean, this is kind of like in a way like a prologue to it. Kind of like how the Creed movies were prologues to Rocky Balboa. And yeah, in a way, it was kind of like more like a Taken film. But I still think it was better than Taken 2 and 3.
Anything's better than those pieces of garbage.
Yeah. But yeah, I like the setting, like the ranch stuff. Like again, makes sense with the ending of the fourth one. It connects there. He finally has some people in his life, family. But that gets taken away. He gets revenge, last blood. And the last action scene at the farm, damn, that was really good. He's setting up traps, kills everybody one by one. They have, again, like these guys had no idea who they're messing with.
Right.
And he takes them out one by one. And yes, he love how he said, like, you ripped my heart out, I'm gonna do it back to you. Yeah, and like it wasn't coming in this movie, like hearing the criticism, like I thought it was gonna be like more brutal than it actually was. But they like I kind of like appreciate like Sly kind of pull back with the violence compared to the last one.
Yeah, I agree.
Because if I would have if they would have shown more, like I would have like, oh my god, I would have had PTSD, Not that it happened to me, but I'm just saying like, whoa, I'm not going to Mexico for another 50 years. But yeah, I thought it was a decent movie, and I don't think it's not a bad. I don't understand the hatred for it that it got. Like even from like Rambo fans, like a lot of like Rambo fans, like who love the past Rambo movies, like even didn't like this one. I was like, oh, really? Okay. I think that this one's underrated. This one's really underrated. But yeah, and then also I didn't mind that Rambo has short hair. I'm like, whatever. He moved on from that,
Yeah.
But yeah, yeah, I really enjoyed this movie, and it's underrated. So that's all I got to say for now. Rob, you can go next.
Yeah, I enjoyed this one. I remember when they first announced it, I'm just like, I don't know, like I just didn't know what to think because I thought Rambo 4 ended perfectly. And then when I saw that he was wearing like a cowboy hat and on a horse, I'm like, I don't know. And then when he wasn't going to have his long hair, I'm like, wait a minute. I'm like that seems more like just Stallone to me. It doesn't seem like Rambo. I'm like, that's kind of his signature look. That's how you can kind of compare him to other characters he's done. But after watching the movie, I was totally wrong. Like the hair didn't bother me, because his attitude in acting was like spot on Rambo.
Yeah.
So it's like the hair thing kind of just left my mind. Would I have preferred him to have long hair? Yeah, but I think it's not a big deal as I made it out to be. And I was expecting this to be more brutal too, but there was some brutal stuff. Like when he killed people with a hammer, and then the heart scene, and just all that stuff.
The decapitation scene.
I know a lot of people were complaining because he did like a Home Alone kind of thing, and I'm thinking to myself, like, look, the guy is up there in age. Okay, they had to do something that would be more realistic to his age. It's not like he's gonna go out and take his shirt off and start using his bow and arrow and blowing stuff up and diving off cliffs. He's not going to do that. He's an older person. He's going to do what he knows best and use his mind, and that is what he did. He set up traps. He wanted them to come to him, and so I was totally fine with that. And again, that's Rambo. That's what he does, and I like the fact that we get to see him lay more traps. Which we never really got to see in the other movies. We got to see a trap
just
here and there.
First one, right?
Which is stupid, because when people are like, "Oh, he's Home Alone in the movie," it's like First Blood did it first.
Yeah.
Before Home Alone.
So. Yeah, right.
Yeah. And what I
Home
want to
Alone
say
didn't invent traps, people. Like, fuck.
What I want to say is, like, it's cool to see him do that skill in this movie a lot more than he did in the other ones, and it's like it proves that he knows he knows how to do that kind of stuff. He knows what he's doing, and I like the fact that he, this family, like the girl that ends up passing away, and that again drives him to go, do what he needs to do. I know this storyline has been in the works for the longest time. He's been wanting to make this storyline, and I don't know. I was really happy. The thing is, the ending.
He should have killed the father.
The ending when he's sitting in the chair all shot up.
Yeah.
And then it shows him riding on a horse. He rides away. And it's like, where's he? It's like, to me, I'm just like, I don't know if that was kind of like a satisfying ending for me. I preferred Rambo 4. Yes. I like the ending there. I kind of felt like the character, we don't know if he died or if he's living or if he's going to continue on, like with it kind of felt like a cliffhanger to me.
Yeah.
Other than that, that's maybe my only nitpick. I thought, the action when it was happening was really good. But again, this is like an old man Logan story. This is like old man Logan, but Rambo. So it's like, I was fine with that. And people need to shut up when they say, "Oh, Stallone can't do it anymore. He can't do this, can't do that." Like, just shut up. I don't want to hear that. So, no, it was good. My expectations definitely exceeded when I saw the movie. So
yeah.
And this is the only one I got to see in theaters, by the way.
Yeah, Dan and I saw it, and honestly, I think we. I don't know how you felt, Dan, but I went in with low expectations. Like I went.
I know you were having more, I think, second thoughts than I was. I think I went in with standard. I went in just like, okay, like I'm hoping it's gonna be good. I wasn't thinking I wasn't gonna like it, but you definitely were more, I think, pessimistic than I was for it.
I was a naysayer.
He just didn't want the franchise to be ruined. That's all.
He didn't what?
He didn't want the franchise to be ruined.
Well,
right? Oh yeah.
Well, totally like I said, Rambo 4 ended it so good. It was like a Rocky Balboa ending for me, and I just didn't want no unnecessary crap. happening. But I think this comes full circle when he meets the family, or he comes home and there's the family there, and you get to learn about them a little bit.
Yeah,
you know,
backstory, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. It was good. I enjoyed it. So
he should have killed the dad.
I think he should have killed what?
The dad of the girl.
Oh.
He should have killed the girl who betrayed the girl.
Oh yes, yeah, she pissed me.
He should have killed her.
Wait, I think in part 4 and 5, it's like he doesn't want to go that route if he doesn't have to. It's not until he gets pushed. When he gets pushed over the edge, that's when he.
when he grabs the hammer. Oh my god!
I agree, because like when he at the middle of the movie, when he goes down there to across the border, his mission, his guy is like, I'm gonna get her out and bring her back. But he's looking for her. They beat him up. Then that's when like, okay, it's fucking war. I'm gonna rescue her, but I'm also gonna kill you guys.
When he grabs the hammer and he starts killing people, and he goes to the girls, he's like, "Get out, get out!" And they just stand there. It's like he's going crazy. He's going into each room and he's like, "Ugh!" And he's like, "Get out now, everyone, get out!"
I actually like I like the slight out of this. Like every time he tells each girl to get out, they say, I can't, because they've been threatened. Like if you try to escape, I'll kill you.
Yeah,
right.
So, I mean, that's why I like that he added that.
But it's just so courageous how he just doesn't care. He's just he's just going crazy with a hammer.
Because a lot of these girls have nowhere else to go. That's the thing.
I know.
Yeah. So yeah.
I'll go next because I want to add on to some, if that's okay. I want to add on to some stuff.
Yeah, go ahead, man.
Yeah. So Rob and I saw this in the theater. Like right off the bat, like I agree. I was a little. I did not like. I don't want to say if I didn't like. I guess I didn't like the short hair before seeing the movie. It was kind of bothering me because I was like, man, I'm like, that's kind of his signature thing. And and people were like, "Well, look at Mel Gibson and like Lethal Weapon." It's like in Lethal Weapon, get short hair. But here's the thing, what the heck's it? Riggs? Riggs is not on the level of Rambo. I'm sorry. Like Rambo is way more of an icon than Riggs. So
yeah,
true.
So I didn't think that was a good comparison. With that being said, once the movie started and like you saw him and Rambo talking, I was like, okay, it's not a big deal. Like I was like, it's not a big deal. It's okay because again, he would maybe change his haircut as time went, and he was still the character. So that I was okay with. And yeah, when the movie was I think the first big shock scene is when he's going to find her and he drags that guy out of that club and he breaks his collarbone.
Yes. Oh man,
putting his finger in there. I'm like, man, like,
oh yeah,
just like, okay, here we go, But yeah, like when she goes down there, like Alex, like you were talking about how they, were showing, the environment down there. It is realistic, and again, I think that was what was good. Like I think it would have been bad if they didn't go the more realistic route because again, I think Sly was trying to make a realistic film about something that's really happening,
that's like if somebody makes a movie about like downtown Chicago and it's all cookie cutter clean, nothing bad happened. You know what I mean? It's like that's
yeah. There's like homeless people all over.
Yeah.
In Chicago.
Yeah.
You don't
imagine it was like nice and clean and flowers and rainbows. I don't know.
Oh yeah, no, it's a dirty
and nothing but squirrels and furry animals. I don't know.
But so yeah, so I like that aspect of it, and yeah, like you feel bad for like as soon as she's down there, I'm just like, man, I'm like, I'd be so that's honestly why, like personally me, like I don't have any interest to leave the United States. Honestly, I never would want to like. Personally, I'm like, I don't have any interest to like go visit Asia or go visit Mexico or go visit Europe. Like, I don't know. Like, I feel safe, safer, I should say, because the United States is not a very, very safe place. But
it's like if you're gonna travel, like you need to know where you're going, how is it, and everything. You know what I mean?
Right. So yeah. So of course, Sly goes down there, and of course, everything happens what you guys already talked about. I do want to mention this. so there is an extended cut of this movie, and the only way you can watch it is on Amazon. It's about 10 minutes, I think, longer, and again, I do like the cut better than the theatrical. There is a scene in the beginning that's like a rescue scene, and it shows Rambo that he has actually a camaraderie with like the law enforcement. That scene, the scene's fine, but that's probably the most time that is added to the extended, but that's not the scene that hits it for me to be better. The scenes that hit it for me to be better is the extended cut shows more of Rambo's PTSD. He's actually on medication, and he has flashes of things that have happened in the past. It drills into that more, and so I did like that aspect of it. So yeah, like the action that they have is good, and like Rob said, I mean, it makes more sense for him what did he say in Rambo or in First Blood Part 2? He's like, the best weapon is the mind. That was a line that he said in that movie, and that's true. I do have one nitpick about this movie, and I don't think you guys were bothered by it, but when I saw it in the theater, I thought it at that time, and as I've watched it a few other times now, and like my nitpick is the final kill. Like, I feel like the heart ripping out is a little over the top, if you want me to be perfectly honest. I just feel like
but
listen,
liked it.
It's how it was handled, like, because he like takes the guy's heart out and the guy's still alive. I'm like, this isn't Mortal Kombat.
Fatality. Rambo wins.
Here's the thing. I would have been okay with him like gutting him, and I know he used the line, "You rip my heart, and I'm gonna do you." Like how about like if he would have like stabbed him in the heart and then like dragged down his chest or something? Like, I think that would have been fine. But like the fact that he like slowly cuts him open and then rips his heart on the guy still alive, I was just like, I felt like that was a little over the top. That's probably my only nitpick.
Well, it was
he pulled a Jason from Part 4. He like went down with the knife, or Jason went. He's like went.
But even for like, because I feel like Sly, he goes for realistic violence, and I was just it kind of put me off a little bit that he did that one thing that was a little over the top for me.
He was setting up his premiere in the Mortal Kombat game.
That's okay. Like Rob was talking about the ending feeling a little bit iffy, and that's because in the original script he was supposed to die in that chair. And again, I think Sly had second thoughts, and that's why he added that scene of him riding off in the sunset with the horse.
Is that the director's cut? Because that's not in the theatrical. Is it?
What?
Him riding the horse.
It is.
It's that you have to watch
the credits.
The credits. It's
okay.
When it's showing, not the end. You don't have to watch to the end of the movie. You don't have to watch to the end of the credits. It's they're showing a montage from part 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then right after the montage of part 4, it shows the montage of part 5, and the last shot is him riding off on the horse.
Okay, I must have missed that.
It's real quick, but here's the thing, and here's something that I think Rob and I feel a little bit different on, and maybe Alex too. But I always Rocky Balboa, like I've always said, I'm like perfect that ending. Was the perfect ending, and I was always like, I don't want any more. Like was the perfect ending, and now Rob feels that way about like Rambo 4. He's like, that was the perfect ending, and it was a great ending. But like for me, it's like I feel like I want to see more Rambo, just because like I feel like that character. It's like Rocky is centered around his lifestyle. Rambo's life is just worldwide. I mean, he's been everywhere. I always feel like we can get more good story with him. And that's that's just me. So that's
the reason I thought
that, what
I was to say, the reason I thought that is because Rambo came back home, and I felt like everything was full circle. Instead of him having to go out in the world anymore, it's like he's home, and it's like his age and whatever.
I totally get that. Yeah, I mean, and it totally makes sense. Like, I totally understand that, and like it's just like me, a selfish reason. It's like I want to see like more.
Oh, I want to see more too. Yeah, but
him kick a butt.
Well, what more can he do with the character? Fight the predator?
Stop a bank robbery.
They're toying right now with the 6th film, and I would be okay with that, honestly, as long as here's the thing. It's not like I don't feel like here's my point. I don't feel like Rambo 5 tarnished Rambo 4.
No.
Like I don't feel like it hurt Rambo 4's ending. Where like I feel like the Creed movies have damaged the. That's
but what's the difference?
What?
What's the difference with you?
Because I feel like the character of Rocky has been taken. His perfect ending was taken away from him, and I don't think Rambo. I think Rambo can still have a perfect ending. In fact, I was going to ask this question at the end, but I'll just ask you guys right now. Like, let's say they made a 6th Rambo film. Like, I would be okay if he died at the end of the movie, like doing something selfless. Like,
well, that's how I thought this ending should have. I thought it should have ended with him dying at this one on this movie.
I don't know. It just depends. It's
well, that's what I mean. It's like, see, like I don't want to see Rocky die. Like, I don't need to see that. But like, if they keep going with this, like, I feel like that's going to happen. But like Rambo, he's a soldier. It's like if they did like a 6th film and like he like rescues like a ton of people and he has to sacrifice himself, like I think that would be for me a perfect ending to his character, because then he could finally be at peace, almost like how Logan ended.
Yes, which what this movie was kind of like, you know. Except he didn't die, you know.
Again, I thought this movie should have been before Rambo 4. Like I thought they should have did this story before that, because that's why I feel like in Rambo 4 he's home and he has really nothing else to do. It's not like he would go from home and then go to another part of the world. It's like I felt like that ending, he's come full circle, he's back home, and that's where he's going to stay. It's like I felt like something like this story should have happened before. But if it did, you know, that's why I feel if they're not going to have him just go home and then end it there, then they should kill him off. Maybe have him die courageously or something. I don't know.
Well, I mean, I know, Thomas, you still need to go, so I don't want to keep taking up time. But like, they could do something with the 6th film, like to continue off of the 5th one. Like maybe the cops are after him for killing all those people, and like it's almost like a First Blood type movie again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that could
maybe.
I don't know.
I always felt like oh man, like if this is before Brian Denny he passed away, I kind of felt like, man, what if he met up with him again? You know, he's the one that started all this shit.
What if he passed through the town?
He wants revenge and like.
What if he passed through the town again? That'd be cool.
Yeah, I remember you.
But yeah, I know, Thomas. Sorry, I know you gotta go still.
Go ahead.
I mean, I didn't really know what to expect going into Last Blood, because just like how you guys said, how Rambo 4, it kind of ended really perfectly. It came full circle and things like that. It was a great send-off. And I think it was a great send-off, like Dan said. It was just like the Rocky Balboa. It was a great send-off to the Rocky Balboa character for that. And for the 4th Rambo, it was a great send-off to the Rambo character. But when I heard they were doing a 5th one, I was curious about it, but at the same time, I was a little worried, because I kind of thought like it was going to be something useless, where it was kind of like, you know, what was the point of this movie? You know, that there really wasn't much to this. You know, Rambo 4 ended it perfectly. So I was a little weary going into Rambo Last Blood, and I was quite surprised of how much I really enjoyed the movie. I still think, for me personally, though, I do think it's my least favorite Rambo movie. It's the Rambo film I don't really watch a whole lot, but I still think it is a decent movie. Granted, I'm with Dan on this one. I do agree, you know, the long hair. I'm always used to having the long-haired Stallone as Rambo, because that's his trademark, or one of his big trademarks is the hair. But, you know, as time was going on, and I warmed up to it a little bit as the movie went on. It didn't really bother me as much, because it's still Stallone playing the character of Rambo. And and in a way too, I kind of like how in the first in the first Blood where he was setting up the traps and they did the same thing with this. In a way, I kind of feel like The Foreigner with Jackie Chan kind of stole some ideas from First Blood, because if you remember The Foreigner with Jackie Chan, where I need some water after this.
Yeah, you should have got some water already, man.
I'm losing my voice. Where in The Foreigner with Jackie Chan, you know how in The Foreigner where Jackie Chan in the wilderness area was setting up traps and covering people in the leaves, and he was basically John Rambo. And I kind of feel honestly like Rambo Last Blood at the very end kind of did that better than what The Foreigner did with Jackie Chan. I think the traps were far better in this because and this is John Rambo doing it, and Rambo is an expert at doing that. He did that in First Blood, and they brought that back in here. And I don't like Rambo Last Blood. I still prefer, though, even though I do love the First Blood character, like how Stallone was in First Blood and things like that. I still, for me personally, I still prefer the comic book John Rambo, in 2 and 3, because that's the Rambo that I love the most. That's the Rambo that I watch the most. But Stallone does still do a good job in this movie. And actually, ironically, and I forgot to mention, the director of this was actually Adrian Grunberg or something like that. This is the same guy that directed Get the Gringo with Mel Gibson.
Oh.
Which is another really solid movie for Mel Gibson. I like Get the Gringo. And, Rambo Last Blood, this is what I appreciated about this movie was that it didn't ruin the Rambo character. It didn't tarnish the character in any way. It didn't tarnish the ending of Rambo 4 because he's riding off into the sunset in this one. And honestly, I don't really think you need a 6th movie. Just kind of like how with this one, I still don't really think you needed this movie because of the way Rambo 4 ended it really well. But at the same time, though, I still think it's a decent entry into the franchise because they respected the Rambo character. They didn't make tarnish his character or things like that. I think they did do a decent job with the Rambo character. And I think Stallone, still has it. Not granted, I wouldn't say it's not in the caliber of Rambo 2 and 3, sort of like Rambo, which is what I like. But I still think it's, although Rambo 4 just had a lot more going for it, in my opinion. Rambo 4, I love Stallone's direction. I love the jungle setting. I love the violence. I'll tell you what, too, Alex, I didn't know about that whole thing, with, some of your, I guess, family members, experiencing kind of trauma and things like that. I did not know that. I'm really sorry.
Yeah, that hits home a lot.
So that's what I mean.
Yeah, I'm sorry to hear that. I honestly have no idea. And it, and I do agree with Alex on that one because it's not just Mexico. It happens everywhere.
Yeah, worldwide.
I'll tell you how scared I was in Philly. When I went to Philly, the wrong parts of Philly, man, that's scary in itself.
I mean, and I think the parts of Philly that Rob is mentioning is Kensington.
Kensington, yeah.
Yeah, Kensington, that's
I never felt more nervous in my life. Even in New York City, I wasn't that nervous.
If there's I know there's been movies that take place in Compton, if no one calls those movies, racist,
I'll tell you this, Rob, about Kensington. I've driven through there a few times before, taking shortcuts and to get to downtown and things like that. There's points where I tell you what, like Kensington is kind of like Skid Row in a way.
Yeah.
Because like when I was driving past there a couple times before, you can actually see people shooting up heroin.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a point where I saw like blood spray.
So Rambo 6 should take place in Kensington. Is that what you're saying?
Jeez.
Yeah.
I tell you what, I mean, I tell you, I know this is off topic, but Rob mentioned Kensington. I mean, there's a point. I mean, there was.
You've seen some shit, yeah.
There's people.
I saw stuff just driving by.
Yeah.
And there was a point at one time during the nighttime. I remember seeing. Well, I'm not out in the streets. I mean, like driving by. I mean, in the car. There was a guy. There was a guy sleeping on a fire hydrant.
Mm-hmm.
Like he was literally like, I'm gonna try to do this the best I can, but he was kind of like
that. On top of the fire.
Yeah, he was laying on top of the fire hydrant. It looked like it kind of looked like someone like did a wrestling move and like broke his back on the fire hydrant.
What if he was dead? He might have been dead.
Was he even moving?
Not really.
Oh boy.
He was probably passed out from all the heroin or something like that he was doing. I mean that's how sad it is down there in Kensington. I mean, granted too, I know this is gonna be really hard, really not funny, but like down in Kensington during the daytime, there are some unintentionally funny stuff that happens down there. There was literally a point when I was driving down there. And I saw, you know how like on the sidewalk you have like those little poles that you can like hop over.
Yeah.
Kind of like one of those like mini like yellow poles.
Yeah.
Kind of like you see in like a parking lot.
Uh-huh.
There was a point where a guy was humping it for like a good 10 minutes.
He needed some.
Let me ask you guys this. Did you think in this movie that the girl was gonna die?
No.
I didn't think that.
I thought it was gonna play out like the Last House on the Left remake, where she gets abused and all that, but still survives. I thought that was gonna play like that, but no.
I thought they were gonna do I thought they were gonna do like kind of like what they did in Taken.
Yeah, well, that's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I agree with Rob on this one too, and I agree with Alex on this one too. I take this over Taken 2 and 3 any day of the week.
Yes. And I don't know. I answered Dan's question about the heart. Like I didn't. Yeah, it's over the top. But I still.
Oh yeah,
how it was done.
I actually didn't mean to answer that about Dan's question.
The heart.
Yeah, like I do agree it is over the top.
Well, it's not like he ate it.
He should have. He should have.
That would have been kind of cool if he did. Actually,
it just cuts to the next scene. He's in his kitchen, just cooking it.
He's cooking the steak.
I mean, it was satisfying to know that Rambo's like you just messed with the wrong person. It's like,
yeah,
these guys were heartless monsters. It's like,
Yeah. So. Yeah. My overall thoughts on Last Blood, it's decent. I like Stallone in the movie, but I really don't think it's as good as the first four, especially not as good as Part 4. Like Rambo 2 is still my favorite because that's the comic book Rambo that I love, but I still like the movie overall. I would say I give it maybe a 7.5 out of 10. I give it about that kind of a rating. I give it about a B.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely don't. I definitely don't understand the hatred that it does get. I really don't understand the hate at all. Like the way that people are hating on the movie, it's kind of like they're saying like, "Oh wow, like they really ruined Rambo's character." Like, no, they didn't. Like they didn't tarnish the reputation of the character of Rambo or anything like that. They treated him very, very well in this film. And At the same time, though, you didn't really need a Rambo 5, but overall, I think it was done pretty decently. I didn't think they did anything stupid with Rambo. They didn't, and honestly, I understand where you guys are coming from. How like if they do a sixth movie, how they like maybe he can go out and die doing a courageous thing and kill them off. And I can see where you're coming from at the same time, but at the same time, for me, I don't really want to see Rambo die off just because of all the shit that he went through. I just feel like he can just like live his life in peace. And
I mean, unless he pulls a Bruce Willis from Armageddon, then otherwise it probably won't be good.
Rambo saves the world.
Yeah, but overall, I like the movie overall pretty decently.
Rambo's a driller.
he's gonna set up traps in the asteroid. No, actually, one thing I forgot to mention. Just one thing I didn't really care for that much. I didn't care for that reporter lady that helped him. Like I just didn't think she was that useful.
That's mean.
If it wasn't for her, Rambo would probably be dead.
Yeah, he still would have lived. It's not.
She called the doctor to come fix him up. Remember?
If he would have just been laying there, and those guys probably would have come back, and who knows?
Stop being racist, Alex.
Oh wow, this is pretty cool right here about what Forka just said. Part 4 was the first one he ever saw.
Yeah,
wow.
It seems like that's common. It seems like I hear that all the time now.
Well, I'm glad I'm not the only one that's called the fourth.
So like if someone sees Part 4 for the first time, they probably see the other ones like this is not as violent as the Part 4.
I'll tell you this right now. This is the order that I saw the Rambo films in. This is the order that I saw them in. I saw Rambo in 2008 first, and then I saw Rambo 2, then I saw Rambo 3, and then I saw First Blood, and then I saw, of course, Last Blood, the last.
That's the correct order.
That's the order that I watched it in.
Yeah, because it's called Part 4 is called Rambo, so yeah, that's obviously the first one.
I guarantee you, if they would have called it Rambo 4, it wouldn't have made as much money as it did.
I guess.
Because I feel like they said they called it just Rambo to make people think it was something new.
It's like how the new Halloween just called Halloween and next Scream.
It was like around the Rocky Balboa time. It's like Rocky Balboa and then John Rambo. But it's like I just wish they would have just went with John Rambo. They should have just did that. But
you know what? I like John Rambo the best out of all those titles.
Maybe he was thinking, maybe I shouldn't just. Maybe since I'm doing, Rocky Balboa, maybe I shouldn't do that for, maybe Rambo shouldn't.
And honestly, Stallone did the 2 films where I said this before when I was talking about Rambo 4. Stallone did the best job when it came to digging up old characters from the past and making good movies out of them with Balboa and Rambo 4. And like not a lot of other films like did that well. I mean, Dumb and Dumber, for example.
I can't wait. Man, Spy Kids 4D, that's going to be awesome. Bring up the old characters.
I would probably consider that. Would I consider that Stallone's?
Man, I can't wait for Shade 2.
Spy Kids 3D.
I actually like Shade.
I'm trying to think.
Yeah, Shade wasn't bad.
Maybe would Spy Kids 3 be my worst Stallone film? Maybe.
It would. Yep, it would.
Yeah, you know what? Fuck Spy Kids 3. Fuck it.
Yeah.
And I will agree with you guys, even though I like to say that, even though I continually say, like, yeah, I would take a Rambo 6. Like, I like this series.
But you don't.
I agree. Rambo 4 had a better ending than 5.
Yeah.
I sound like a blasphemous. Like I should. I'm such a.
You
huge
sound like
Stallone
a blasphemous.
Fan. A blasphemous. I'm such a huge Stallone fan. And it's like I'm sitting here saying like, oh, maybe Rambo should have just ended with Rambo 4.
What? That ain't. There's nothing wrong with that. I wanted the last 2 creeps to not happen.
those garbage films. I can't believe they happened. Yeah. They need to stop waiting so long.
Yeah, I mean, if this is the actual last one, like, it's fine.
They need to stop waiting to make these movies.
The next one's gonna come out in 12 years from now.
Indy 5 is the perfect example. Okay,
Yeah.
The next one will be when Stallone's 90.
Yeah.
So everyone's favorite Rambo is 3, right?
All right, stats.
Oh yeah, okay. So this one had the same budget as Rambo 4, $50 million. So they had the same budget. Rambo 5 did slightly better than Rambo 4 domestically. Rambo 4 was $42 million. This was $44 million. But worldwide, Rambo 4 did $113 million. This only did $91 million. So this was the lowest grossing. So I don't need. Technically, I mean, if it had a $50 million budget and it made $91 million, it probably only broke even. IMDb score 6.1. Rotten Tomatoes, this is the lowest rated, and I think it has to do with what Alex said.
Yep.
26%. Come on.
You actually read the reviews. Almost all the negative reviews mention that. Where it just mentioned it.
Listen to this though. Rambo 5 audience percentage 82%. That's the highest of all the movies except the first one.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's unbelievable.
I don't even agree with that.
Because people who saw it probably heard the criticism and they watched it like this isn't bad,
Yeah.
I think because the expectations were low and then it exceeded them so much. That's what happened.
That's just random. It's really random.
It's Rambo-dom.
I see.
All right. I guess we do our rankings.
I think this will be interesting.
Yeah.
Too bad.
I think we're gonna have a lot of different.
Too bad Julie can't rank. We should have told Julie. We should have asked Julie to rank them.
We can ask her later, I guess.
Well, she did say she might not be able to stay, so.
Yeah, that's the thing. Well, at least that's why before she left, she got to say at least what she thought about the other ones.
Yeah, at least.
Can't do that. All right. Well, okay, rankings.
All right, okay.
Worst to best, or
are we doing worst to best? Or
yes.
Best to...
Yeah, worst to best.
Worst to best. That's the way.
So, who wants to go first on this one?
I'll go first. My number 5.
Suddenly.
Yeah. My number 5. I didn't hate the movie. I liked it, but it's my number 5, and it's Rambo 3.
Ah, okay.
Wow.
You racist.
Yeah, I hate Afghanistan.
You don't like the Afghan Soviet people.
Yeah. They're all terrorists. Don't take that out of context, people. It's a joke.
You're fired.
I'm rating that.
I'm canceled.
You're fired.
All right.
Who next? Me?
Who next? Go ahead.
I had to actually think about this.
Don't think, just say it.
Shut up.
Stop thinking too much.
I'm gonna put Rambo 5 as 5 for me.
Okay. Rob.
Same as Dan. Last Blood for me. But I just want to make this clear. I like all the Rambo movies, so because it's last doesn't mean. Yeah.
All right, Thomas.
Same as Rob and Dan. Last Blood.
Last Blood. You guys are racist.
I don't like Mexicans.
Yeah. Clearly.
I don't like old guys with cowboy hats without long hair. That's what I don't like.
You don't like tacos and burritos. That's what. All right. Number
I thought
4.
this would be odd, but Alex, you're the oddball so far.
Of course. I'm always the oddball.
Number 4.
Yeah, number 4. For me, this kind of went back and forth after rewatching them again, but I have to go with First Blood Part 2.
Get out.
Yeah.
Wow.
My number 4 is Rambo 3.
3D.
That's mine. Number 4 is 3.
Mhm.
Mine is Rambo 4.
Rambo 4?
Yes.
Part 4?
Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, mine's Rambo 4.
Yeah. Okay.
Top 3.
Number 3. Rambo Last Blood.
Okay.
Wow, you have that down the middle. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I can already see, Alex, that you prefer the realistic killings of children as well.
Yes.
Yeah. So my number 3 is part 2.
Okay.
Rob?
Yeah, you're gonna. Oh man. My part number 3 is First Blood.
That's mine too.
Okay.
Okay.
Wow.
All right.
Okay.
Yep, my number 3 is First Blood.
I figured it's not too bad since it's right in the middle. So.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Autobot Critic actually gave his rankings. Rambo 3, First Blood Part 2, Rambo 5, Rambo 4, and then First Blood.
Okay.
Get out of here for putting Rambo 2 is almost last. No, I'm just kidding.
All right, so number 2.
Number 2, for me, Rambo 4.
Ooh,
that's the same as me.
Mm-hmm.
Same.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'll be the oddball out on this one then. Rambo 3.
Okay. So Thomas the highest on Rambo 3.
That's interesting. That's interesting to see Rambo 3 so high.
I adore Rambo 3. I think it's
Thomas loves Afghanistan people.
He likes the Afghan people.
Yes. All right.
number 1.
Number 1 for me, First Blood.
Same here.
Mm-hmm.
Rambo First Blood Part 2 for me.
Rambo First Blood Part 2 for me as well.
So Autobot Critic had the same ranking as me.
Oh yeah, Rambo 3, First Blood Part 2, Rambo 5, Rambo 4, and First Blood. Wow.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So
Nice.
the main things that generally were decided, like 3 of us had Rambo 5 as last,
Mm-hmm.
and 3 of us had Rambo 4 as second.
Mm-hmm.
Rambo First Blood and Rambo 2 both were in first place 50% of the time.
Mm-hmm.
Those are about most of the stuff that was equal with everybody.
I was the only one that was Rambo 3 and number 2.
Yeah. Thomas put Rambo 4 lower than the rest of us.
Like I said, it was really hard to rank these.
Yeah, Alex, you had Rambo 2 pretty low too. I had Rambo 2 as my third.
Well, my ranking kind of changed because my number 2 was going to be First Blood, and then my number 3 was going to be Rambo 4. But I watched Rambo 4 not too long. I freaking love it, so I had to push it up because
yeah, definitely.
So
like Rambo 2 for me was higher before.
Rambo 2 was always going to be my number 1.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean I knew First Blood was going to be my number 1, but between my second and third, Rambo 2 and 4, those kind of flip sometimes, and also for Rambo 3 and Rambo 5 for me, I think flip sometimes. So it's like,
why are you pushing me?
I was flipping my 2.
We don't like your kind around here.
I was flipping 2 and 3 back and forth. I was trying to decide which one I'd do number 2, either First Blood or Rambo 3, because I love both of them. But
why do you like the comedy of Rambo, Thomas?
What do you hunt with a knife?
I brought this for good luck.
You know what? There should have been a part in Rambo 3 where Rambo gets hurt and he says, "Yep, something definitely bleeding."
Put it down, you dummy.
Add more comedy.
Oh my god. Yeah.
The only thing that would make that scene better would be a wink.
Yeah.
Forget it. I want to die.
Yeah.
Shut
Oh
up,
my
everybody.
God.
Oh, mother. Can you smell her? Can you smell mother? Mother. Oh, mother. The mother boxes. Oh.
So Rambo 6. What are your thoughts? You don't want it, or do you would want?
We don't
it,
need it. Like if it doesn't happen, we'll be fine with it, right?
Well, okay, if they continued off where he rides off in the desert, I think what should happen is he falls off his horse and he gets hurt, and for 127 hours he gets stuck out there, and then people are or they're sending out a search party, but who else would? No one would know except for that Mexican lady about him.
Well, he had to cut his arm off.
He gets stuck out there, and he cuts one of his body parts off.
Oh yeah. So like, just like in Rambo 3, there's a scene in Last Blood where she asked him like, "I'm gonna see you again." He's like, "Probably," but no, he's not. We know Rambo. He doesn't see anybody.
That's where he winks.
Yeah.
Do a nod to Rambo 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what? This is definitely in Rambo 6. The last scene should be at his gravestone, and the gravestone should say, "Killed for vagrancy in Jerkwater, USA."
Yeah. And then his knife should be right there.
And then Michael Rooker shows up.
All right.
He can freeze to death.
All right. It's time to end the show.
Yeah. Thanks for having me, buddy.
Thanks everybody for watching. Thank you, Julie, for joining us. Too bad she couldn't join us the whole show, but that's okay. She has responsibilities and stuff.
We also have to thank Autobot Critic and Forka and Sean Urshan.
Yeah.
And I think that was everybody that was in there.
Yeah. Oh, well.
Thanks.
That's okay.
Thanks for tuning in, folks.
Yeah.
Oh, Autobot's going to go check out Will's.
I'll check it out when it's cheaper. I don't really feel like paying $20.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait for Redbox.
Yeah. That's
yeah,
right.
they can't say Family Video anymore. Fuck.
Yeah, Family.
God damn it. Anyway, everybody have a good rest of the weekend. Stay safe. Stay warm. Stay whatever.
It's snowing right now, by the way.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Crazy. No. I don't know what he's doing. No. All right.
Bye.
Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.
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 Not over.
Bye.